fuck you doing?
Remember that name, Good Pizza, with 3 Z's, baby, 3 Z's.
What's up, fam? It's your boy JP, Good Pizza. Yo, check this out. We got a very special guests this week. We got the Beard Bros in the building. These guys are some of the most influential cannabis reporters out there in the game, always keeping you up to date with what's going on. They have a very long history with the plant. They even have a little East Coast history we covered. So I can't wait for you guys to see this story, man. Beard Bros, Good Pizza. We'll see y'all on the show. Well, Beard Bros, thanks for coming through today, man. I really appreciate you guys coming out, Bill and Jeff. Long time coming, man.
I know.
And we just discovered that we all took a picture together a year ago today at Liddy in the City, LA. Fun fact for you guys. That was a good one. So, yeah, man, I've been fanning you guys for a while. I've known about you guys since before I moved to California. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are, you know, ROGs, our mentors in the space of media and, you know what I mean? What's the word I'm looking for? Help me out.
Activism? We
Yep.
like to get into
activism, journalism, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a pleasure and honor to have you guys on the show, man. I've looked up to you guys and followed you guys for years, man.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate being here. I've been watching the show since you started doing it, and I love the show.
Cool, man. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it, man. So there's two of you. So let's go one by one. We're gonna go Bill first. Bill, let's walk through the story, man. Let's hear the story behind the story, man. Where'd you grow up? What was it like? Like, just kind of walk us through it, brother.
Okay. The story before I start. Well, I grew up in central Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I lived in a little town called Bowlesburg, right outside of State College.
Okay.
Where Penn State main campus is, till I was about 13. For terms of my cannabis journey, that's where my cannabis use started. Okay. I was about 13 years old. Met a friend of mine in school named Jesse. His parents, ironically, were from LA. They were professors from Cal State Fullerton. Nice. And so one night his parents were out and his college brother was gone, and we got into their stash.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was the first time I smoked. We were drinking Old Granddad whiskey and smoking weed out of probably a tinfoil bowl or something because we were 13 years old. So,
sounds about right.
So after that, we ended up moving to Easton, where our family's from, for a long, long time. And I lived there, continued consuming cannabis. Back then, it was all brickweed.
I smoked a lot of weed in Easton.
Yeah.
As
Easton.
well, and sold a lot of weed in Easton.
I have too, as well. But yeah, so high school in Easton, I loved it up there.
Oh,
really,
no shit,
yeah.
bro.
I should have graduated, but we moved to Florida.
Okay.
When I was a senior, I started my senior year in Easton and then moved to Florida.
Thank God, bro. Easton's a shit, bro.
My dad graduated from there too. I think in 1965. Our family goes way, way back in Easton.
Easton High, man.
Yep, Easton High. And so after Easton, we moved down to Florida. I was 17, finishing up high school. It was really cool to move to Florida because brickweed that was, $150 an ounce was $60 an ounce in Florida, because that's where it was coming to. It was coming to Florida first, then making its way up to us. Yep. And so, just going through there, that was the first time I started really getting into stuff that was grown that wasn't brickweed. What was home grow. That was where I started my journey in cultivation. When I was 17 years old, I met a friend of mine named Johnny. His dad was into plants. I started working with him, taking care of interior plants at malls and atriums and hotels and such. And so we started building hydroponic systems with his dad's knowledge and us being eager to grow pot. We did that. That was the first raid I was involved with. I want to say it was probably 1990. We got raided in Jacksonville, right off of Phillips Highway. If you're familiar with Jacksonville, it's on the south side of town. We had a 4-lighter. We probably bragged too much, showed too many people, and somebody talked. And so the cops came. My friend Johnny and I were not there. His dad, who was at the time, I believe, was a 65-year-old Korea war veteran, took all the charges, didn't say nothing to nobody, got 2 years probation because he was a Korean war veteran. And he told him that he was growing cannabis to use for his arthritis.
Okay.
And so
what a G.
one of the only
Shout
times
out
I've
to him.
ever heard of somebody in the 90s. I mean, we had probably 150 plants, 4 lights, spare bedroom. The only time I've ever heard of anybody in the 90s that didn't just go directly to jail for 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it was because he was a good guy and he was a veteran, and we weren't out there just trying to get crazy with it. We were cultivating it for ourselves. And so that started my journey in cultivating. I've always been into plants. Even before I moved to Florida, I had a job working at a nursery in New Jersey. My dad's friend owned a a greenhouse in New Jersey, and they
Whereabouts?
Alpha, New Jersey, right over the
Alpha?
right over the bridge.
Asbury, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was growing petunias and impatiens and Easter lilies and Christmas cactuses. It was really neat, living up north. You driving through the snow. You get to the greenhouse in New Jersey. You walk in, it's 75 degrees.
Yeah.
You take your clothes, take your jacket and your pants off, and you run around in shorts and working when it's 10 degrees outside.
No
so I always love that. In Florida, I ended up with a landscape company, exterior landscaping as well, while cultivating. Got married for a little while, stopped cultivating. Has also been flipping packs like everybody else was cultivating. Sure. And so then it was married for a while. Divorced in my 30s, and then got back into cultivation, and we eventually ended up out this way.
Nice, dude. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a long journey.
Yeah, it's a long journey, man. That's a long journey. So, Jeff, what were you up to during this time period?
It's crazy to hear him summarize that length of time.
I was gonna say that was a
2-minute
we left some
diatribe.
shit out, dog.
No, obviously during that time I'm 6 years younger. So when we were moving from Pennsylvania to Florida, I was only like 11, 12 years old. Okay. So much more of my formative years were in Florida than in Pennsylvania.
No doubt.
So you got a little bit more of the central PA upbringing. I got a little bit more of the Northeast Florida upbringing.
Yep.
And having him as the older brother, kind of setting that example in good and bad ways, as you know, older siblings tend to do.
It's an advantage for you, my friend.
It definitely, I'm not going to lie, I used it to my advantage. Yeah. My first smoking experience was at 13 years old also.
Oh boy.
Got picked up from local YMCA basketball practice by Bill and his friend Johnny he was just referencing.
Fucking Bill and Johnny.
They always kind of smelled like it. And at 12 or 13, I didn't know exactly what it was, but I'd asked enough questions that at that point I was like, well, why can't I try any of it? And I don't even remember if he had necessarily a good answer for why I couldn't try it, but
I think my good answer was, if you're going to try it, you need to try it with me.
Yeah.
All right. Like that was my answer.
That's a big bro answer.
And I guess it was nice, I didn't think about it at the time. I was growing or smoking my first time something that was grown by him.
Oh, that's cool.
Controlled environment, good quality. Yeah, didn't have to want. We didn't think about those things much back then. You had weed put in front of you, and it was good enough.
That's it, bro.
So no, that was my first experience, and then having the older brother. We're talking early mid 90s, and I know we always concerned about statute of limitations on this, but I know this one's well beyond.
Yeah, we're good.
Florida didn't really have a good DMV computer system at that time, so by like 16, I think it was, I'd gone into the DMV and was like, I lost my wallet, my ID, and everything. Oh, shit. Yeah, my name's Bill Levers. My social security number is blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I had the ID that said I was 22 when I was 16.
Fucking money, bro.
And then I had the older brother who also was growing. So all through my high school times, I was the plug. I was able to get whatever needed to be gotten. And
alcohol's on fucking Jeff. No problem.
I actually went back up to Pennsylvania to Penn State Altoona for my freshman year of college. Wanted to get out of the South, get back to Penn State. It was always kind of my goal and my dream as a kid growing up in State College to come back to Penn State.
Okay.
Of course, I didn't realize that at 10, 11, and 12 playing in the snow is one thing, and being up there at 18, 19 trying to get up and go to class at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, not as easy. Yeah, no. So I bounced back to Florida after my freshman year.
Did you?
Yeah.
Ooh, done.
Back into Jacksonville. Went there to University of North Florida for a year. So there again, had a brother that was the plug that was able to provide for myself and friends around. Yeah. Went over to University of Florida for a year and met some friends that were from South Florida. We had some friends from Jacksonville that were also from up in the Kentucky, Tennessee area.
Okay.
That would go up there and pick up Kentucky homegrown. So yeah, we joke now with going through licensing here in California, we were vertically integrated all the way back in like 97, 98.
Yeah.
He was cultivating, I was sales and distribution.
That's right.
And marketing and promotion. And
see that? He was a step ahead of all y'all.
So
that's crazy, bro.
So yeah, made it all the way through college and joined back in with a couple of business ventures that we had in the early 2000s in Florida. And then the real estate market in Florida having the boom and then the bust in that 2008, 2009, 2010 period is when the West Coast was really starting to come around. Colorado was legal. Yep. California had Prop 215 in place, and we looked to move out to Colorado in middle of 2010.
That's right. You guys did Colorado first. Yep. I remember hearing this on your journey. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so now you work together, right? Yep. You guys are together. You guys moved out there together.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. We
What's
literally,
the first move?
Dude, literally.
What's the purpose in the first move?
The purpose was at the time, Florida was just, there was nothing going on in Florida.
Yeah.
The housing market really beat up Florida. Like it was bad. And so there wasn't that much opportunity. And we had always wanted to get back to growing and thought, you know what, this is a great time to do it, right? The economics here aren't great. And so we had a friend that lived in Colorado at the time. We ended up moving into Ned, which is just outside of Boulder.
Okay.
And we started cultivating there and just wanted to get into the industry. Colorado changed the laws in 2010. We were able at first to take our product to dispensaries and sell it as a caregiver to the dispensary. Yeah. They changed the law in 2010 or the very beginning of 2011 in Colorado to where you had to have a dispensary license to sell to other dispensaries. So they cut out the caregiver model. And so we were like, well, now we can't even do it. We tried to do. The reason we left Florida is because we didn't want to get, a 10-year sentence for growing a couple bedrooms full of weed, which is what people were getting in the early, the mid 2000s. Florida wasn't playing around.
Yeah.
And so we ended up in Nederland, in Colorado. They changed the laws, and we decided that was the time we needed to get to LA. The reality of it, we realized at that time too that LA was somewhat the epicenter of cannabis. Not only did it have Hollywood that would broadcast out, things like Be Real and all the other cannabis influence that comes out of Hollywood, but just the cultivation there as well was on a scale that until you got there, you didn't really even understand the level of cultivation that was going on in Los Angeles.
That's wild, dude. So you guys are in LA now. What year is this?
This was we got the
2011.
Yeah, we actually first moved to Long Beach. So our first grow in California was we were living in Long Beach and we were growing in a mother-in-law's suite in a backyard in Garden Grove.
Okay. Living in the main and
no, we were living in an apartment and driving to this mother-in-law's suite in a backyard in Garden Grove because that was the first access we had before we got into warehouses.
Gotcha.
And so we had about a 12 lighter in a mother-in-law's suite. We had no carbon filters. The whole neighborhood was stinking toward the end of the runs. Ooh. The person's house we were at kept moving different people in. He was renting rooms and stuff. And we're like, this is not a good place to be. So luckily, before we got robbed or arrested, we were able to pack up. We ended up in the San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
And since we had just got to LA, we didn't really understand the importance of the San Fernando Valley in terms of cannabis cultivation. Didn't take very long being there to recognize that people like Josh D and Kenji were pioneers, and they were living in the same valley as we were. So we just very luckily for us moved into like one of the cultivation epicenters of Los Angeles as far as the San Fernando Valley goes.
And I'm laughing because I remember our exit from that mother-in-law suite when it did start to get a little bit hot. I had a Subaru Outback from the Colorado days, and Bill and I took that from Garden Grove to San Fernando Valley on probably 8 to 10 trips with 12 plants in each trip in the car. And I'm not
6 per.
And I'm not talking teens or cuts. I'm talking 3 or 4 foot high plants that we had to get, the paper cones to put around to get them to fit into the car and lay down. Just literally riding up the 405, broad daylight.
12. They were probably anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So we had nugs on them. Like anybody who was driving behind us was just smelling green weed for But we figured, hey, we're going to carry 6 each. If we get pulled over, we're going to show our medical card. Yeah. We each got 6 plants in the back, sir. And
it's Prop 215 days, bro.
Yeah, man, I miss those days.
Yeah, me too.
I miss those days a lot.
Same, man. Wow. Okay. So you got the new spot. You're in San Fernando Valley. What do you guys do next? Like, you guys strictly cultivating at this point? Is Beard Bros?
Yeah.
Is Beard Bros born yet?
Well, no, not when we got to San Fernando Valley. It got born after that. We recognized, I think it was 2010 or 2012, that Prop 19 did not pass in California. And so what we recognized was if we didn't begin to brand ourselves and let people know who Bill and Jeff were, we were just going to end up watering somebody else's plants.
Yep.
And so Beard Bros was born in 2013 because of that reason. We wanted to brand ourselves. Not recognizing at the time how important it was going to be down the road. 11 years later now, we're talking about, and a lot of people know who Beard Bros are. So it was just very, very good timing. We wanted to build a brand. At that time, we were just cultivators. We didn't do any media. We were just growing quality product, taking it to the sessions, putting the turkey bags out on the card table, meeting patients, selling patients product, getting connections with them so they could find us again to get it. At that time, we started getting into making edibles and such, working with veterans, working with prisoners, because we were in LA and didn't know anybody, and we felt like what we had to do was get ourselves in with the people that were doing activism first. And so our first connections were Orange County Normal, some great people there. That led us to working with prisoners. That led us to working with veterans. Our dad was a veteran, so we always thought it was crazy that people who went and would fight for our country would come back and get treated the way they did.
Yeah.
They would be subject to, the VA sending them piles and piles of pills.
Yep.
Just turn them into zombies sitting on the couch instead of trying to actually heal them. So those two things, prisoners and veterans, got really near and dear to our hearts to help people.
Yeah.
The other thing about the prisoners was we're out here running a business, building a brand, and there's people that were doing the same thing. Luke Scarmazzo is a great example. He had a legal dispensary here in Modesto and did 15 years because they decided he wasn't legal enough, and so here we were. And so we always just felt it was important to give back and to help those people. And there's still people in jail we're trying to get out. So.
Well, and also it just wasn't as accepted back then. Even though California was accepting of it as it was, us coming from, living in the Northeast, living in the Southeast, gave us kind of a unique perspective that, well, we came out here and everybody that was here is like, oh, this is just the norm. This is how things have been for the last 15 to 20 years. It wasn't that way around the rest of the country.
No way.
And there was an ability to make an impact there. And to Bill's point, they were too. We'd gone to jail for weed ourselves, so we understood the plight that people were dealing with on that side of things. And then we'd been around through the 80s and the 90s and seen the Vietnam vets and the way they were treated and how that divided the country. And like a lot of our normalized cannabis use now came from those movements, from those people that were the outliers and the fringe parts of society, making it known that this is something beneficial to them. I mean, most of the California medical program owes its debt of gratitude to the AIDS patients in the early 90s that found the benefit from it. And pharmaceuticals that were trying to help them were not available or were not as effective. And that's what spawned the conversations that led us to talking about it being medicine, led us talking to about it coming Schedule 3.
Yeah. Most people don't even realize that Dennis Perone was a veteran.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean the veterans have been very behind this because they understand that just getting pills dumped on them is not good for them. A friend of ours, Mike Whiter, who now works for Now This Weed, was the guy that I want to say probably about 6 or 8 years ago. There's a very iconic picture of veterans that are holding pills in one hand. They have their outfit, their uniforms on, and they have pills in one hand and weed in the other. I forget what publication put it out.
Time Magazine, I'm pretty sure.
Was it High Times?
Wow. No, Time Magazine.
Oh, Time Magazine did it, yeah. And so Mike Whiter's our friend of ours who did that shoot, and he was one of the models for it. But he'll tell you his story was that the Veterans Administration just sent him so many pills that he drooled on himself for 4 or 5 years and tried to kill himself several times because of just depression and things like that. So it's just always been very near to our heart to help veterans.
What's up, pizza fam? It's your boy JP, Good Pizza. Check this out. I've been getting a lot of questions on where I can find the fire Good Pizza. Check this out. We got you covered. We're in NorCal, SoCal, Central Valley, San Diego. We got you covered on the slices. Peep the list. Go check out the shop. Tell them Good Pizza sent you. Peace, love, Good Pizza. That's dope, bro. That's awesome. That's a great cause, man. So, I'm curious when... All right, so you guys, that was a good in, by the way, activism. How were you guys treated, like, as outsiders coming to California back then? Was it accepted? Were you guys accepted? I know you guys came from Florida. Was like, I feel like people are pretty accepted now. Like a lot of people are from the space, out here, are from here. And I think that's pretty normal now. Was it cool back then? Or was it people like, oh, these guys are from fucking Florida?
We never really got any specific hate for not being from California or LA, more specific. I think it's because we're good people. We're trying to help people. We're contributing.
Yeah.
We weren't just sucking off the system. We were trying to contribute to it and make it better.
Definitely.
But LA is also a melting pot.
Yeah,
so I've met so many people from Florida that are in the industry, in
California,
California and Pennsylvania too.
For real, there's a lot of cats from Florida.
But no, we never really got that. But I've always been very, very grateful that people like Kenji and Josh accepted us. They never said, oh, you're outsiders, we're not talking to you. Everybody was always very accepting of us, to the point where a lot of people just think we're from California.
yeah, dude, I had no idea until I heard an interview you guys mentioned Easton, PA, and I met you guys at Hall of Fame. I was like, yo, you guys are from Easton, bro? Holy shit, dude.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Our family history actually goes way back in Easton. In 1776, when they declared independence, they wrote the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia. Yeah. And when they back then they didn't have news and media, they had newspapers, but it took a long time for that stuff to happen.
Sure.
And so they read it in three cities: Easton, Trenton, and Philadelphia, they would go to the center square and they would read proclamations. Well, one of them was the Declaration of Independence. It's our direct relative that read it in 1776 in Easton to the city.
So, in the square down there?
Yes, in the circle.
In the circle, yeah.
In the circle. And so Robert Levers was the reader, one of 3 readers of the Declaration in 1776. And that was on July 8th when they all signed it on July 4th. So we go way back to Easton.
Wow, dude. I've seen some wild shit in that circle, bro.
Yes, I'll bet you have.
Bro, I could tell you some stories.
And not at the Crayola factory.
And no, yeah, it's not the Crayola factory.
Right across the street, dog. Not that corner, the one right next to it.
The other corner, yes,
the other
sir.
corner, right
Those
across.
bars down there, man, my friends owned, their dads owned all them bars. Mothers, and
yeah, hell yeah.
my
Shout
friends
to
owned Mothers.
Drinkies and shit.
Drinkies,
yeah,
I
you
love
feel
it.
me?
You are from East. You are around East. I love it.
I used to have my boy, rest in peace, Willie. I used to have his ID. I used to get in Drinkies with that shit. I was like 19, bro.
I love it.
William Guzman, you know what I'm saying? My Puerto Rican homie, he's hella
Easton
older
don't
too.
care either.
Oh,
If your
fuck,
ID's
bro.
good, you're in.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here, kid. Yeah, dude. Wow, man, that's some cool fucking history, man.
Way back. My dad read it in 1980. Our uncle read it in 1976, which was the 200 year of the bicentennial anniversary.
Yeah.
We've already informed the city of Easton that there's still levers around, and one of us will read it on 2026 for the
cool,
250th anniversary of the.
Would that be on the 4th of July?
Yeah, well, the 8th is when they do it. They do it
the 8th.
Independence Day. So the 4th of July is when they all signed it in Philadelphia, and then it was read 4 days later.
Okay, cool. Cool. That's cool.
Pretty
man.
neat.
Man, maybe I'll be home that
There
day.
you go. That'd be great, man.
I'll come light up a fatty in the circle while you guys
I
read it,
love
bro.
it. So I remember as a kid.
Respectfully, I don't want to
Yeah,
disrespect the fan, but I mean,
please
that'd be
do.
cool.
I mean, I'm going to be
You know
reading
what I'm
off
saying?
hemp. I might smoke one up there if I'm reading it.
Fuck
Why
yeah.
not?
I'll pass you one.
But I remember as a kid when our relatives were reading it in the 70s and the 80s, they would do a whole parade, and I used to get dressed up in the 3-point hat with the knicker pants and the buckle shoes, and we'd ride a horse-drawn carriage down to the circle to go read it.
That's
There's
true,
a reenactment
dude.
they do every year.
Wow.
Yeah,
man,
so I remember
that's
that growing up
crazy.
as a kid. So.
That's crazy. That's what's up, man. Interesting history, boys. Interesting East Coast history, man. I'm learning.
It's also funny you mentioned that you didn't know we weren't from California. When we moved here from Colorado, we already had the beards. And I think moving into LA, everybody just assumed we were NorCal guys that had moved down to LA.
I thought we were farmers from NorCal.
Because now that I'm up in SAC the last couple of years, I get it from people as well. Oh, I didn't even know you guys were in. I was in LA for almost a decade prior to this, bro.
Yeah.
And we should get out the Beard Bros story. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, come on.
And so
hit me.
we're
I love
in
a good
Colorado.
origin story.
We just get there. We got the Florida little trim beard. Jeff had a little goatee. I had a little, what do they call that? Just a little trim line. Like, not really a
chin
beard.
strap?
Chin strap.
Oh,
I just
chin
had a
strap's
little
a
chin. It's
popper, bro.
hot
And I had a
there.
little soul patch.
Yeah,
And so this was
dog.
2010. And everybody that lived in the mountain town, all of a sudden we heard people talk about, look, the feds are coming up in here now. Look at them. They're just sending them up here. So we're here there with shaved heads and these little tiny beards. We probably did look like feds.
Bro.
So Jeff didn't cut anything. He just let his hair grow for a year. So we grew our beards out so we could fit in to Colorado. When we got to LA, we stood out because of the beards. And that's literally what made us Beard Bros, because in 2011, people weren't sporting big beards in LA.
No.
And so that's where Beard Bros was born, because it was a differentiator for us in a city like LA.
That's some Philly shit.
I know, right?
That's fit in Philly like a motherfucker. Y'all got Philly beards. Yo, that's fucking great. Wait, so hold on now. Were you guys dubbed that by somebody else? Like, yo, here come the Beard Bros, or did you guys be like, yo, Beard Bros?
No, it's just
be
us.
cool.
We
This is
just
a great
did it. We
fucking name.
knew we needed a brand, right? We were out there selling products.
Yep.
And when you're and also too the dispensaries and well, I should give a shout out to Mickey Martin, who's our mentor. Rest in peace, Mickey. He passed away, I think 4, maybe 5 years ago now.
R.I.P.
But
Mickey,
we were
man.
following Mickey Martin. He was up in Richmond, Oakland area. And we watched him. He was branding himself. He was first Tainted Edibles, and then he became Compassion Edibles. And so we were watching him, and we were recognizing, hey, Bill and Jeff, that's not good enough, right? We need something better. And so literally Beard Bros just came up again because Jeff and I just decided on it, because it differentiated us from people in LA. There just wasn't big beards in LA back in 2010.
Well, I mean, it played to how we always have been, authentic and transparent. Like, we have beards, we're brothers, we're growers. This seems like it's a no-brainer. A plus B plus C equals D.
Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. And it's, I don't know, man, like the branding, like the picture with the beards, it's so recognizable, bro. Like, it was real easy. Good brand awareness off the rip, I think.
It's funny. I don't think I brought any of the old school stickers with us. The very first sticker we did was actually when we had our edible products out, and our people that were making the formulations for edibles pulled our photos off of Facebook, like a little side profile,
our profile
with us
pictures.
kind of looking at each other, and it was literally the exact picture of
pictures.
us. And we were like, that's a little too far. Let's have somebody design one that looks like us a little bit, but isn't like actually us, where they could pick us out of a police lineup if they needed to.
And literally, it was a picture of us. Neat story with the logo. Shout out to our friend MJ. She's the one that designed the logo for us.
Okay.
She charged us $50 and a half ounce of sour diesel.
Damn, I'm
So
rolling
that's
up some
what.
sour diesel.
There you go. That's what made that logo for us, was $50 and some sour diesel and a whole lot of hard work to put it out there.
Let's go, bro. $50 and some sour. I like it. I like it. I feel like I've come up off a couple $50 and sour plates one time.
I'll bet you have.
Yeah. None ring a bell off the top, but I promise you I have. Sold a lot of sour in my day. Fuck yeah, man. I love that. I love a good origin story. So now, boys, you guys are rocking and rolling. Beard Bros, SoCal. What products you guys putting out? Let's talk about the infamous RSO you guys are known for, man.
Yeah, the RSO, we're cultivators, and so the RSO started out here.
Sure.
It's ironic. We started producing RSO because back in 12, 13, 14, when people were calling themselves extract artists, you would get robbed a lot.
real?
I mean, the splits weren't coming out right.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, I
You know what I mean? Like
Not physically robbed.
Not physically
No,
robbed.
I understand.
But,
Emotionally robbed.
Emotionally robbed.
Yeah, it's only yielded X.
I'm gonna get we're gonna get a 20% yield, then it comes back 5. It's like, hey.
Yeah.
So we just got tired of like all these different yields coming out across the board. Shout out that there was some Nature's Lab never did that to us. There's people that didn't do that to us. But we just decided, hey, let's make something out of our smalls and trim for ourselves.
Sure.
We had started working with veterans, so we started making RSO. Found out that veterans really appreciated it. At that time, we were working a lot with Weed for Warriors. We would show up at events. We would donate products, donate pounds, donate grams of RSO. Started recognizing the veterans really gravitated toward the RSO. It helped them sleep at night, right? So if you have PTSD, one of the things that's an issue is sleeping at night.
Yeah.
You have these really bad nightmares and things like that. And these guys were coming back saying, man, I used that RSO before I go to bed. It's fantastic.
fucking cool, man.
Yeah, we started getting into doing more pheno hunts. And so now we started making RSO with not just 1 or 2 strains, but we started adding RSO up with 5, 6, 8 strains because, you got 2 or 3 plants. It's not enough to, put it all together in a strain specific.
Yeah.
But what we found out when we did that was we called it cannabinoid stacking. When you took multiple strains and put them together into an RSO, you just increased the cannabinoid levels across the board. And that's what we're looking for in the medicine is more cannabinoids. And so we found out that by honestly mixing as many strains together as possible, you got a better RSO product than you did by doing strain specific. Nothing wrong with strain specific, but if you're looking for, a multivitamin, so to speak, that would help as many people as possible without different formulations, that's the way to go. And so we just got known for the RSO. And then when legalization came around, you know how hard it was for everybody to get a license or get a grow, or now you got to have millions of dollars to build a grow. And so we knew we weren't going to be able to keep flowers in the market because we were in LA, Prop 64. They only gave out 185 pre-ICO Measure M licenses. And so we knew we weren't going to be able to keep our cultivation and get it licensed. Right. And so we started leaning into the manufactured products.
Okay.
Because they're formulations, they're duplicatable, they're replicatable. Yep. They're, you don't have to worry about hype. You don't necessarily have to worry so much about freshness on it. You can have a 6-month RSO is just as good, if not better, than a 2-month-old RSO. And so you don't have all those issues. And then in retrospect, it also helped us start expanding because now we've got products that can be identical in other states.
There you go.
So
solid.
Yeah.
Solid. And what SKUs are they?
So we have a CBD and a THC RSO.
Nice.
And then we also have 3 tinctures that we came out with. We came out with the tinctures because RSO is a very high dose product. Okay. So you've got a gram of RSO. It's usually in the 70s to the low 80s in concentration of THC. So you're looking at 700-800 milligrams in a single gram. And when you're eating it mostly, a lot of people only have a tolerance of 10 or 20 milligrams. It's very hard to get a dose out of a syringe or a dabblicator that is much less than about a 30 milligram dose. Okay. And so we recognized that friends of ours from the East Coast were calling us, hey, we see this RSO you guys put out. We're not familiar with cannabis because we're from the East Coast.
No doubt.
How can we use it? And then I started finding out that most people's tolerances were like 5 milligrams. And I'm like, well, our product doesn't even work for them. I couldn't even sell them my product.
Yeah, you're gonna kill them.
And so how do we get people a lower dose of RSO? you put in a tincture and you dilute it. And so
There you
now
go.
people can get anywhere from a 2.5 milligram dose to a 20 milligram dose per dropper. And so now people who couldn't previously use our product can try an RSO-based product through our tinctures.
Nice.
So we have a high CBD, a high THC, and then we did a nighttime where we added CBN to it. So it's a
Solid.
2-to-1 THC to CBN.
Nice. Solid, man. You guys miss flowers?
I mean, we're growers at heart, yes.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to keep growing. We did a couple licensing deals. Man, things were tough when Prop 64 kicked in. And,
Really?
And our
Really
licensing
is,
deals didn't work out. The people that we were working with didn't grow our products the same way we did. And then when we didn't want to buy them back because they weren't growing them the same way we did, it became an issue. We tried to do a little, we tried to get products from our friends that were cultivating and white label, and there was no business opportunity in that.
Yeah.
And so we just decided we're not going to put flowers out until we grow them and or one of our friends that were involved with the cultivation process, then we'll start putting out Beard Bros flowers again.
Yeah, that's solid. It's not easy, man, and I can relate to that as a brand.
It's tough.
You know, I'm fucking super lucky and blessed that my cultivating partners, they do allow me to pick batch to batch, and you know what I mean? I can pass on batches, and we have a whole system if that happens, you know, but that's not the case, man, with a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? With a lot of scenarios.
It's difficult.
It is difficult, and I understand why.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. They can tell me to fuck off, and I'd understand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's cool, man. You good. That's good. You knew how to pivot. You knew where to go.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Just want to take a quick second to shout out my sponsors over at Grove Bags. Listen, Grove Bags are hands down the best way to store your cannabis. Forget jars, forget Mylars. Nobody does it like Grove Bags. Listen, it's a 6-layer, non-static bag. State-of-the-art technology. It's gonna keep your weed fresher for longer. It keeps your cannabis between 58 and 62% humidity at all times, the optimal humidity to store cannabis. It's gonna increase your shelf life, help prevent mold, weight reduction. Hands down, it's the best product out there. We don't use anything but Grove Bags at Good Pizza. And especially if your product is in stores, we all know there's some shelf life issues at the stores. This is gonna keep your product lasting longer on those shelves, so when your customer goes to try it, it's gonna be fresh cannabis. Listen, if you wanna store your cannabis the proper way, use Grove Bags. Use promo code PIZZA with 3 Z's. That's PIZZZA. Tell them Good Pizza sent you.
And that's been a benefit for us for getting into Massachusetts and Missouri.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, you guys are in multiple states.
We are.
Let's talk about that.
So now we're in California, Massachusetts, and Missouri. We are also doing a licensing deal, and we are curating small batch flower in Canada that's being delivered through a delivery to every Canadian with a medical license in Canada. And so 3 states and another country.
What's it like working up there in Canada? What are the laws like? Like, how is that setting that up? That sounds awesome. How does it work?
I mean, that one's definitely interesting. The people we're working with up there, Mendo Medical, like Bill mentioned, have delivery throughout the entire country.
Okay.
Their system's obviously set up a lot different than ours. Some of those ways not as good, some much better, to the point.
Okay.
One of the main reasons of working with them is their care and consideration for their veterans. Their veterans get it delivered to them at home, just like we do with pharmaceuticals here.
Cool.
They get it covered, if not all, mostly by insurance.
Nice.
Blue Cross Blue Shield reimbursing the delivery
How
for their
wild
medication.
is that? We were on a phone call and they said, yeah, Blue Cross Blue Shield pays this much. And we said, stop.
Wait, who?
Do what?
So our initial conversation with them was continuing our manufactured products, the RSO, the tinctures, getting into some gummies and some products like that.
Yeah.
And when they let us know the relationships they had with a lot of they call them up their LPs, licensed producers, with small LPs, less than a 10,000 square foot canopy, Bill and I were like, well, these are guys that are going through the exact same thing we've gone through the last 5-6 years in California, and they have even less ability to promote themselves in Canada on social media, on websites, in their legal system. Well, their branding is non-existent on the actual package. Like the only thing added to our flower packages there is our logo on one sticker. There is no vanity package. There is no Good Pizza design packages. There is no Beard Bros
kind
band.
of like Florida, very basic.
Even more so.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So to be able to have somebody like us with the megaphone we have here in the States, we're able to get them a lot more well-known outside of where they are.
There you go.
And another interesting thing about Canada is that's where a lot of the export stuff into Germany, into Australia, into other countries in Europe, they're light years ahead of United States in all aspects of that. So it's kind of a long play there as well, trying to develop good partnerships there that can hopefully lead to the access to Europe, because Europe's got twice the number of people that the U.S. does. As we've seen, they're thirsting for culture. They're thirsting for everything cannabis related, and
Europe right now,
it all spawns out of California. Yeah. So I mean, that's really been our art the last 5-6 years, is being able to read the tea leaves and pivot to where we need to go to.
Yeah.
We really didn't hit on it too much. Right prior to 18, we had a delivery that was servicing San Fernando Valley and out towards Thousand Oaks, Ventura area, and we had 70, almost 80 products listed on Weed Maps.
Wow.
So we were putting out the flower, pre-rolls that went with it.
Yep.
We had collabs with the Budfather on Dutch Master pre-roll blunts with our flower in it.
Yeah, we had
the
Budfather Dutches, real Dutches with our weed in it was on our delivery list. Yeah.
Back in
Vanilla
15,
Dutches?
16, 17.
No, not vanilla. I don't think
Regulars?
we had the regular Dutches, and we used what
cool.
we did is we put our flower with the corresponding keef that went with that strain. And so it'd be like an OG with OG keef. It was 2 or 3 gram blunt with like a half gram of keef in it.
Nice.
Yeah, we sold a lot of that.
Dude, I used to sell grams of keef on Weed Maps, bro.
Yep.
How fucking crazy is that? In 2017, 18. Dude.
We had multiple flavors of cushy cocoa, different flavor of dry cocoa mixed with keef in it. A reefer ranch that was ranch dressing when you mixed it up. Highly Italian that was Italian dressing.
Let's go, dude.
And all those were, approximately 150 milligrams.
Yeah.
Like one
per
cup
dose.
will put you on your
Fox.
ass.
Yeah.
But they didn't provide a path through to take those products into the legal market. So those products all just got shelved.
Yeah.
They had followings. They had people that, when we'd show up with our backpack at High Times events, Secret Cup, Secret Sesh, all those different events, people knew that's what the backpack was full of.
Yeah.
And
we handed out so much hot chocolate through the years.
That's a
Boy,
trip,
people just
dude.
tearing it up. And here's a good story on the reef. We called it Reefer Ranch. Was our ranch dressing. We had Slink Johnson do an event at the Headroom Gallery with us.
Okay.
In probably 2015.
Okay.
And so I made a batch up. What we would do is we'd make ranch dip, and we would just take a vegetable tray.
Yeah.
And put the ranch dip in the middle and tell people to enjoy. And we told Slink, I said, Miss, I made this one extra strong. I put like 3 batches in it. So it's not 150 milligrams. It's like 500. So be careful.
Yeah.
Dude was slumped in the corner, sleeping. He loved it. It was really, man, this is good. This ranch dip's good.
This ranch
He was
is so
he was
good,
falling
bro.
out at the end of the event.
have another good one with Annie Milanakis. Same thing. He got smacked on it.
Talk to me about this. Hold on. We're not going to breeze over that one.
Yeah.
Hit me.
We did an event that Andy went to, and he got a bunch of products from everybody for free, and he did a little recap. We have the video somewhere, but he just goes through all these
fire,
products.
dude.
He's like, Cushy Cocoa, Reefer Ranch, whoa.
Oh,
he's a trip,
shit, dude. Yo, he's probably like old now.
I mean, he's my age, I believe. He's in his 50s, I would guess. Andy.
What?
Yeah, late 40s, early 50s.
He was when he was on. He
Mad
looked
young.
young, but I think that's because of whatever his. I think he has a condition.
He had a condition?
As to why
Oh,
he's,
is that right?
Why he's
No wonder you're so fucking witty. I'm like, how's this little kid? This little kid's a
he
man,
wasn't little.
bro.
He seemed little, but I think he was like 30.
No
but
shit.
he seemed like a teenager.
Okay, it's kind of like Mario Bosco. You ever see that little fucker?
I don't know. I don't
He be
know.
on Grown Up Italian show a lot. He talks like this. He looks like little Pee Wee Herman. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You see him on fucking. You'll see him. Yeah, he has got a condition. Yeah. Look, makes him look young and shit. Wow, that's cool. I like it, man. So Canada, so would you say that's a good play? Getting Canada as MSO?
I think so. Canada's it's an interesting market. They're federally legal, so they have all the things that Jeff talked about: the export, the shipping through the Canadian Postal Service is legal.
Sure.
All that's great. However, they've been very, very restrictive on the licensing as well. I mean, it's just
Gotcha.
it's natural. That's what these government entities are going to do. They don't want all of us who they've been putting in jail for 50 years. They don't want us running these businesses.
Yeah.
They're happy to let us start the demand and get out there and build the industry. Then they want to change the regulations in the middle and allow all their lobby buddies to come in, which is I feel what's happening right in front of our eyes right now.
Yeah.
Well, I feel they have a lot of similar struggles to what we've had here in California. There's a small group of people that got hyper capitalized with like no proof of concept behind it. They speculated on what they could do. The canopies, the Tilrays, all of them. But then you have all these small operators and medium-sized operators that have struggled for 4, 5, 6, 7 years trying to do things the right way, and there hasn't been a path forward for them. Sure. And I think some of these licensing deals where they are where we're weak, you're strong, where you can promote and push people towards us, where we have distribution availability out to like 37 million people, not all of them medical patients, but the partners we're with are eventually going to go over to the rec adult use side as well and continue what they're doing from medical through all the customers throughout the entire country. I think it's a way you can learn from their mistakes. They can learn from our mistakes, and best practices come out of that.
Yeah, for sure. What about culture, cannabis culture there? Like, are the Canadians really up on quality? Do they like vapes? Are they all fucking distillate? Like, what's the
The culture there is good. I mean, they're growing a lot of the same strains we are. Matter of fact, the first drop we did was a Jungle Boy genetic that a brand Ostera grew up there at their facility. And so, they have culture, but they don't have the media machine that we do here in the U.S.
Gotcha.
And so if you're outside of Canada, you probably can't think of a Canadian brand, small brand,
Couldn't tell you.
Anybody. You can't.
Beard Bros.
Yeah, Beard Bros.
That's all I know.
Well, that's what when we were approached by them, we're like, wait a minute, like I can't even think of a Canadian weed brand. Like name one, you could think of companies, but you can't think of brands or people.
I was gonna say they have underground culture. They don't have established like legal culture because the BC Buds back in the day, Vancouver's always been known for putting out a lot of good genetics, a lot of good flower. But in terms of established brands that you would hear and see in the normal places, or that you might see coming in and trying to do licensing or branding deals in the U.S., there's been very few of them. There are a couple here and there where the parent company is in Canada and then they've got some assets at play in different states in the U.S., but not as much crossover as you would think outside of the big guys, the Canopies and the Tilrays, doing their deals, speculative deals on when federal legalization happens in the U.S., they're going to acquire all of these different companies and brands.
The Canadians got a bunch of money because they went federal. And so in 2018, that's when all that money ran up to Canada, and people were throwing billions of dollars at the Canadians. And these companies didn't know what to do with it, man. They were buying up, huge acre properties in Colombia that you couldn't really grow at because they didn't consider all the humidity. And, just they were spending the money. Almost like the police. When they get a budget, if they don't spend it, they don't get it again next year. And I think the Canadians did the same thing. They're just like, we got billions of dollars coming in. If we don't spend it on something, they're not going to give it to us again. And man, they made a bunch of bad investments.
If you look at it, all of us small agile people are always kind of building the plane while we're flying it. They were kind of doing the opposite. They were building the plane, having no intention to fly the plane anywhere. They were just going to build a pretty plane to stick it over here on an airstrip somewhere and go, look at this plane over here. Isn't that nice?
It's nice. Look at it.
It's nice. It's fine.
Shouldn't you give us another?
I own it.
Shouldn't you give us another $100 million because we built this plane?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to buy this plane, but we built it.
We built it.
Yeah.
I always look at it like this.
Damn,
when you're a small brand, a small farmer, you put up 50 lights. And that's the struggle, right? It's expensive to put up 50 lights. You got to find a place to do it, air conditioning, HVAC, plumbing, equipment, right? Then you're going how many months before you're getting any money in, right? Because you got to grow your veg out, then you got to flower. So you're looking at like 3-4 months. Back in the day, we'd build 50 lights. We didn't build 50 more until we paid for the 50 we had, and we had enough money to build 50 more. Canada just went in and built 500 lights. Like that's the example I give. Instead of doing 10 times, getting to 500, they just went and built 500, didn't have the demand there. It was just, I was watching it, I'm just like, what are they doing? They're building like 1 million square feet in the Arctic tundra in a greenhouse. Like, why? They spent a lot of money up there.
That's all, and that's like the common theme. Like that's the story I've been hearing over and over again, especially like down in those years. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what happens when you put businessmen in charge of a cannabis company and they don't know anything about cannabis. I mean, there needs to be a merging of business and cannabis. I get that.
Gotta be, bro.
Right? It's not necessarily going to be 50-50 every time. Maybe it's 70-30, in one direction or the other, business or culture. But it's got to be both. And my feeling is that Canada just went up based on business. And they just started building shit and then found out they didn't have the demand for it.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. What about the, journalism for you guys? Like you guys are, big figures in the space with all the journalism and all those contributions you guys did for the culture. Tell me a little bit about how you got into that and like how that's going, where that's going, et cetera, et cetera.
Again, a little bit of it was kind of by necessity. We kind of saw in 16, 17, leading into 18, how things were playing out. And while we as operators ourselves were trying to figure out how do we get licenses, because we were rated back in 15, made us eligible for LA's social equity program. So we were doing a lot of research into what can we do with this and how can we get access to these programs that they're putting in place, and do we actually fit the criteria? So we also had all of our other friends around us that were in varying stages of trying to either stay traditional, go legal, try to find a way to do both because they understood that the runway was long for the legal side and they might need to supplement it. So we had people looking for answers across the board. And we were trying to find those same answers ourselves. So a little bit of it was self-preservation. But then when we started talking to other people and they'd be like, well, we thought it was this. And it's like, no, we actually read it here. And we realized we were sourcing this information out and could provide this info out to other people to benefit them. It kind of spawned and started as LA and their social equity within DCR and like how it can go from there. Okay, now we started to look at the California system a little bit more and how is LA system going to interplay with that. And them being from the other states ourselves, we had other people in those states asking us when Florida's program was going to come online and Pennsylvania's program were going to come online. And obviously, we came out to the West Coast with the goal of the East Coast is going to catch on to this at some point. And I'd like to be able to be one of the people coming back, bringing the right education, the right culture, the right brands, the right decisions to this, and helping people not make the mistakes we're making out here on the West Coast. So, I mean, it started out like that, but we realized a lot of what was being produced back then, there wasn't a lot of independent journalism. You were getting Benzinga like dipping their toe in a little bit.
Sure.
You had MJ Biz just starting out, and they were talking about it from like a Wall Street investor perspective. There was not any boots on the ground perspective of it, of how this law might impact operators. And the conversations of how that was happening were happening when we were putting up an article that we weren't writing at that time. We were just kind of curating. We were finding the right articles that might be completely wrong and putting it up and going, guys, this is completely fucked. Why do they think like this? And then the discussion that was happening in the comments was kind of like the public comment period on Schedule 3 right now in a small microcosm. It was people that recognized, no, you can't put tax rates at this level. You can't have local tax come on top of this. You can't allow the locals to just ban it from their area. And you saw people from out in the high desert go, oh shit, Adelanto and Desert Hot Springs are going to become hotspots because they're open to business. LA is going to become a barren wasteland for operators because they're not giving a path to that. They're opening up all these retails, and then they're basically telling everybody, go outside the county lines to produce all of this product and bring it all back inside the county lines. So we saw all these things from a macro view that not a lot of people saw at the time, and just built our name and our trust factor off of that. And we weren't giving people biased information one way or the other, trying to push legislation. We were trying to get to the best solution.
Yeah. No, that's dope. So you're using other, I didn't even peep that, bro. You're using other articles and creating conversation and dialogue around other articles, challenging or agreeing to the points, and then stirring up the pot, right? And then more eyes on the brand. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. 15, 16, 17, we wrote our first articles in 18.
Okay.
So we've been producing our own articles for about 6 years, but the couple years leading up to that was just.
So that's how you started. Got it.
Started out just like Jeff said, finding articles and then putting our spin on it.
Yeah.
And then we recognized organically that people liked our spin because we were operators and not just somebody writing about it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, people want to hear from somebody that's from the soil,
living it,
versus like just talking about what they seen or heard. That's dope. Okay, cool, man. I fucks with it.
And again, just right place, right time. As far as the media goes, it really just it made us feel good to provide people with correct information. So at first we didn't even we were cultivating. There was no monetary anything attached to media. We were just doing it as a service to the community. Yeah. And up until about 21, we didn't really even start to monetize the media until then. So we put in a good 3 years of just freely educating people before we even took a dollar in for any type of media work.
Yeah, you got to do it eventually.
You do.
You got to do it because we reach in our pocket and give this to the community. And as much as I love the community, I gotta feed the kids.
You gotta eat.
Feel me? I gotta eat.
You gotta eat.
You gotta eat. Yeah, so shout out to the Patreons and my sponsors.
What we always say is the more you get yourself, the more good that you can do. So while this is a struggle, while you are putting in your own time, your own money, your own efforts, the more support you can get to it, the more that you can do, the more you can put other people on. Right. And that's kind of, that's been one of our more recent pivots with the media. Is it has always been kind of focused on Bill and I specifically in our viewpoints on things. And we recognize now that we have the platform we do, we can spot subject matter experts that know a lot more about a particular topic or area than we do and put them on. And that's what we started kind of doing we have a little LinkedIn Live series that's come on that we have different hosts on different areas. One's hitting on finance topics, one's hitting on retail topics, one's kind of branding, marketing, and it allows us to widen our reach into other people's networks, bring their networks into us, cross-pollinate a lot of things, but get more voices heard, because that's really what it is. It's about collaboration and a community building. It's kind of what we've ad hoc been doing this entire time without a strategic plan behind it. We weren't a High Times or a Normal or any of those organizations going, we're doing this specifically for this reason. It's always been just kind of come natural to us. And we always kind of attribute this back to our parents. Our parents have always been active in groups and things that interested them. Our mom in church and our dad in like little boating clubs and different things like car clubs and things like that they were interested in. So we've always been about community and building it and the collaborative being the way to do things and get a lot more accomplished.
For us, it's always been collaboration over competition.
Always.
I know that's something new everybody's talking about. That's just how we've operated. We were doing collabs with the Budfather 6-8 years ago.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, it's, you know, we got to walk that walk.
Who is the Budfather?
What's that?
Who is the Budfather?
I mean, I know who he is, but I have to. I can't let it out.
No, you don't have to tell me. So it's a dude.
Yeah. Ironically, he's from New York.
He's from New York.
He's from New York.
He's got great memes.
Yep, he's fantastic.
I think he memed me recently. It was respectful.
I love
it. It was cool.
We got the most respectful meme from him.
Dude.
We got compared to ZZ Top. I'll take that one all day long.
Yeah, bro. I see that. Come on, you gotta take.
I'll take that one all day long.
You gotta take that one. Yeah.
No, he's a friend of ours. We've known him since before he was the Budfather.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
No shit. Well, look, I'm from the East Coast. I got thick skin. Ball breaking's a sport where I'm from.
Oh, yeah.
So like, bro, I'd eat that shit up.
Yep.
As long as you ain't
And
talking
it's a
about
sport.
my
It's a sport for him. Guaranteed.
Yeah,
it's a sport.
man.
He loves
I mean,
it.
fuck, he's from New York, man. You know, he practiced verbal jujitsu. You know what I'm saying?
He's
cool.
good.
I can tell.
I almost dropped his name out. I'm not going to do that.
No, don't do that. But if we're all at a sesh,
Yeah.
make the intro because I want to shake his hand
absolutely.
and fucking
I'd love to
tell him
introduce
about
you to him.
himself. You're like, as in you're a funny fella. I like it. Yeah, it's cool, man. All right. So what is the what's the next any media expansion plans? Podcasting. You guys been on any shows lately? You want to shout out? What's the deal? What's the media? They want more, guys. They want more.
Yeah, the media's expanding. A couple years ago, we were talking with Aaron from High Rise.
Okay.
And he said, y'all, I got to do more video. Well, I'm old. I'm not this video generation, right? I'm going to be 53 this year. So I'm not trying to necessarily be on camera like that.
Yeah.
But we did recognize we had to. Along with the push from TikTok, you know, that's all about videos now.
Sure.
And so as far as the media goes, we want to expand the offerings. As far as the written word goes, I think we're close to, we're over 1,600 articles we've produced and published on BeardBrosPharms.com. And so now we're getting more into videos. Would like to do a podcast. You know, everybody did a podcast back in when COVID hit. Everybody's doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And so we kind of shied away from it because everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
We've done a few small shows in between there with guests and talking. But as far as the media goes, just expanding the media could actually have more of an impact than BeardBrosPharms as a brand. And so we recognize that BeardBros Media could actually go on further than our brand does because the farms is heard over the internet. You know, people in Europe can be listening to us, but not try our products.
Yeah.
And so the media expansion already has been huge for the brand, and then also vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just kind of lean back into what we just said about community building. Is we're continuing. We haven't built an official Beard Bros community, but that's what we're on the path towards. With the products being now in the Midwest and the East Coast, we're kind of getting a little bit of regional hubs going, and obviously our media attention kind of increases around the states that we're operating in ourselves, no different than how California spawned off initially.
No doubt.
So obviously we're paying a little more attention to the mass market and the Missouri market, and Florida and Pennsylvania markets are ones we still want to find a path into. So we're paying attention to those. And we did our first Friday Sesh live event down in LA back at the beginning of January. So there's talks to do those, either another one in SoCal or a couple other places around the country. So, but just kind of continuing to build that community of like-minded people. Yeah. How can we be doing good business together, whether it's direct referrals of business or, it's just good when people are looking for things. Oh, I got the right person for that. I can link you into that. We're starting up a business directory on the website so that people can just put basic information on there and start to link people together with good business practices to do good deals.
That's powerful. Yeah, dot connectors.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, not being from media background, there's so much that's in media. There's so many cross points. There's so many. I mean, it's if you're not in media, you just don't understand all the cross points. You really can't until you get into it.
For sure.
Between the connection between Google and your social media and Google Analytics. I mean, there's so much I had no idea. That's one of our strengths. We We got here as a cultivator, but then had to learn media. And that goes back to being a cultivator. If you were a cultivator when it wasn't legal and you had to learn how to do your own electrical and you had to learn how to do your own plumbing and you had to learn how to do your own HVAC or at least fix it, maybe not install it. You know, you have a good buddy that you hopefully can trust that puts it in. But if it needs fixed, you're fixing it. Like, you're not calling a repairman to come to your warehouse to fix the AC at your grow. And so, you know, that helped us in our conversion over to media, because we're just like, okay, if we don't understand it and we can't afford to pay somebody to do it, we're gonna have to learn it ourselves. Right. And so you just become MacGyver.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah, I feel that, bro. The life of a entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Especially like bootstrapping it. Like, same with me, bro. I'm learning media as I go.
We are too. We're still learning.
She's still learning every day. Yep. You know? So yeah, it's a beast, bro. Once you start it, man, watch the fuck out.
Simple things like if you put out an article that you write online that talks about you, that has juice. That will lead people online to you. Yeah. And so it's these types of things we didn't really understand. And then, you know, then you get the legal, not legal, the specifics about media with the backlinks. And I'm telling you, it gets really, really deep. And, you know, at first we were just putting out stuff. You could tell we didn't know anything about media. The first 2 years of articles were not done the way you should do them at all, but it was authentic. It's what we were doing. It's how we felt. And it was really, really just an extension of our experience in the industry.
Nice. Yeah, right. I mean, that's really what it is. We're just telling our life story through our lens, you know, and including others in it, and documenting the end of cannabis prohibition as we know it. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of the exciting part, is that we are still so restricted with compared to like entertainment and sports and a lot of these other avenues, that the media side of things, there's going to be a whole lot of avenues open up as things continue to normalize.
Oh, hell yeah, bro.
I mean, him and I were talking this morning. I saw something that Travis Kelce from the Chiefs is doing a party in St. Louis that that has cannabis brands activating, like that continuing moving closer together of sports and cannabis, of entertainment and cannabis. Cool. Like the music festivals here, the Cali Roots having the whole cannabis village to it, and it becoming more normalized, where it becomes just commonplace to see brands at these events, and it's not, we're so restricted. That's where I think the real tipping point's going to happen, because that's where you're going to connect with those people that might be cannabis friendly or cannabis curious, but they didn't know how to interact with it. They didn't know how to get that first touch point to it. And walking into one of those cannabis villages at Cali Roots or at Meadowlands or Outside Lands that's coming up, people get blown away at those types of things. And those are those transformative, like, aha moments in somebody's life where they're like, wow, I didn't even realize this was here. And I think we're going to see a lot of that in this next 4, 5, 10 years.
I hope so, man.
We take it for granted living in the bubble that we do.
We do.
In California.
We do.
You know, I mean, we roll up big joints. We walk down the street smoking them.
This is somebody's weak stash right now. I just rolled up, bro.
You're right.
It's true. I'm not trying to be funny, but like it is.
You either have to live in California or be a cultivator to smoke like this.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no way.
Or sell a lot of weed.
Or sell a lot of weed.
Yeah.
But it just becomes a lifestyle, and for people, I remember when we first moved down here in 2010 or 11, we're driving down the street and some dude's smoking a bowl at the bus stop. I was like, well, that's something you ain't gonna see.
That's shame,
he's
here with it.
Just straight smoking it, not hiding nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, wow, it's just different, and it's the normalization of it. Like for us, you know, and again, even as a bubble, just as somebody who smoked their whole life. Like for me, it's always been normal. So to sneak out of the party and go smoke a joint and come back is normal.
Yeah.
Right. But I want to stay at the party.
Yeah.
I want to share the joint.
Hang out.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to share the joint. I want to talk to people about it. And that's happening. You know, it's obviously slower in other parts of the country, but you know, we live in a bubble in California. We don't recognize how good we have it as far as cannabis goes a lot of times.
Yeah.
But it is nice to see how quick it's catching up in other places. We went to Lauderdale, Hollywood, Florida for Benzinga's conference a month or so ago now at a beachfront resort. Obviously, everybody's smoking on the second floor balcony where like the conference is going on, but you go down and out back on the back where the bar and the pool and like everybody that's staying there is normal residents of it for the week or the weekend are there, and nobody's batting an eye at people sitting in circles smoking weed.
Cool.
Yeah.
We got referred to a Italian restaurant that was a 3-story Italian restaurant. When we got there, they knew we were the smokers. They took us to the 3rd floor because that one had the balcony you could go on out on after you're done and sit out on and smoke at. So and those were, you know, a word of mouth from one person that we knew there. So those types of things, you know, it's not far from all the places just being like anywhere you can smoke cigs, we're cool with it, or even being accepted beyond that, because it's, as much as people don't like the smell, it's still a more pleasant smell than a cigarette smell.
You're damn right it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, man. I can't wait till they loosen up a little bit, man. I'm gonna be done with all these fucking memes on my page, bro. It's gonna be weed. Y'all gonna be sick of me, bro. Just kiss those fucking memes goodbye.
I remember
that's the only reason I post them.
Back in the day, you could show weed. I mean, we had
Yeah.
our main page deleted about 3 years ago now. Between 2011 and 2021, when it got deleted, we had 119,000 actual followers. Didn't buy one. Didn't do any of that. You couldn't even build that now. Instagram has just piled their shadow ban on top of shadow ban on top of shadow ban.
Yeah.
You couldn't build a weed page with 100,000 followers right now. You couldn't do it.
We used Instagram as our lookbook for our product back then. We used the hashtags, hashtag BB _ and the strain name.
Yep.
And he'd go into dispensaries with it in a turkey bag and he'd be like, I can show you it in veg, I can show you it in flower, I can show you it in post-harvest.
We had a pitch deck.
All based off of the hashtag.
Holy shit.
But we lost all of that. When they bounced that account, we lost 8 years of hashtags of all those products, all of that.
Yeah, I would walk in there and literally be able to show them the flower they were looking at in the turkey bag from germination to seed until we cut it down 4 weeks before I took it to them in a turkey bag.
Wow.
And we used to call that our pitch deck. I'd just show up or somebody asked, hey, I want to know about this flower. Okay, go to this, send them the hashtag link, and here's the flower, and I'm seeing them growing it. Cool.
Damn.
So it was pretty neat.
That was
Instagram was the shit back in the day. We literally built Beard Bros on Instagram, truth be told. I got on Instagram, we were selling Mickey's Compassion Edibles down in Los Angeles for him. And so I started a Compassion Edibles page, SoCal, before we even started a Beard Bros page. And so when this is going to sound funny, I remember in like 6 months, I had like 1,000 followers. I was like, man, this is easy. Look, I got 1,000 followers in 6 months. We're gonna ball with this. Let's start one of our own. And so that was Beard Bros got brought up, and then we started the Beard Bros Instagram. But that's how you used to find dispensaries to go to. Back in LA in 12, 13, 14, there was probably 1,500 dispensaries in LA.
Wow.
And they weren't advertising on Yelp. They were local. You knew where they were. But on Instagram, they were all over. I would just get in their DMs and be like, hey, actually Mickey got us into a lot of spots because he had a sample pack he would give us. And it wasn't just a sample pack. He made everything from cookies to truffles to baklava to pita crisps to all kinds of shit, you name it. So I would show up to a dispensary to show them Mickey's products, had this big box of edibles, you know, and would leave it with them. They had like 5 cookies and 6 different kinds of truffles, and nobody even heard of a pita crisp back then. It was medicated with butter, right? So you just spread butter on, now you got a medicated pita crisp, a can of butter. Yeah. And so, they'd be like, oh, these are great. Yeah, we're going to try them out. And I'd be like, oh, I also have some packs in a duffel bag if you'd like to look at some flour. Oh yeah, we could use some flour. Yeah. And that was literally how I built Beard Bros.
Because you showed up with just the duffel bag, and you were the 15th guy that morning that showed up with the duffel bag.
Yep. Well, while I'm here.
Exactly. While I'm here, while you're looking at these edibles.
Did you ever have any Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts experience when you were on the East Coast?
Nah.
Because that's always my analogy, my story with this is I was a Cub Scout, and you sold popcorn and like wrapping paper, Christmas wrapping paper. You go around to all the people in your neighborhood, and you had this box that you opened up that had samples of everything. Yeah. And that's what we did with Mickey, and we was like, pick 3. Tell everybody you can pick 3 of these as samples, and they'd pick, like to Bill's point, products they'd never tried before, and it'd be less than an hour when you were out the door. They'd be calling you up, hey man, can you bring that baklava back? Can you bring back that butterscotch brown blondie? Yeah. Them cookies that were $3 wholesale, but 100 milligrams, bring them back.
Yeah.
Dude, we were killing it back then. Dude, literally $3 cookies, packaged, tested, and dated. Fuck. Mickey was on another level
born
back
on
then.
dates in 15.
Even before that, I think 14, 14, he was doing born on dates for his edibles, testing them with steep hill and shit. Yeah. He was ahead of his time. Well, so tainted edibles, Mickey, when he got rated, I think it was 8 or 9 for tainted edibles, because he was the one that did the Stoners bars
instead of Snickers.
Oh, he did 420 grand, 420 grand.
Reefers, peanut butter cups,
Reefers, Keef Cat bar. And so not only did he attract the Fed's attention, he attracted Mars Candy attention.
Yeah, they did.
And so when they got him,
could he have been the first?
He was one of the first that they really got on. And so he ended up defending himself. He got 2 years of 1 year of like house arrest, 1 year of probation. And when he came back, he went from tainted edibles, which had I have a picture somewhere. He had 50 different products that were all just like the candy bars you saw at the store, except it was cannabis related. He came back with Compassion edibles, and he went basically to a prescription bottle. So he went from I'm parodying Mars Candy to Excedrin, and everything he did from that point on was bold print, look like an Excedrin bottle, born on dates, packaging dates, testing, all that stuff. He was 4 or 5 years before Prop 64 mandated it.
Wow, no shit, dude. Yeah, you didn't see that?
No.
Little strain?
Yeah. What's that?
Little strain sticker, little sativa.
No, you
hybrid.
didn't.
That was it.
Nobody was
That
barely
it.
even doing it before 64.
Fools were writing that
truth
shit
be
on
told.
there, too.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we have tests from 14, 15, 16, SC Labs. We would have to go test, like when we would make our cushy cocoa, we had to know what percentage our keef was at so that we knew how to dose it correctly, right?
Yeah.
Did you put in 0.2 of keef? Do you put in 0.3 of keef? Like, what is this one? Is it 30%? Is it 40%?
Yeah.
Where are we at on it? And so we just, we knew we weren't using pesticides, so for us, the testing wasn't really about the safety of the people. It was about the
dosing.
accuracy of the dosing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. What would you guys give somebody in your, like some advice you guys would give somebody in your space right now? Like what you guys do?
I think the one we always give people more recently is that you have to have some intent behind what you're doing.
Yeah.
The plant can kind of tell if you just came into this to try to flip some stock, to try to make some quick buck, to try to be a snake oil salesman, and it usually weeds you out. So especially now, we're kind of beyond that speculative window where legalization happened, where you might get over on a couple people, tell them you're going to sell distillate at this amount of money, and we all know it's not at that amount of money, but you got that investor money. But you need to have some type of an intent. And like ours is veterans, ours is prisoners, ours is trying to uplift people, trying to help people that are coming through it. But you need to have some reason you're doing this beyond just, I want to smoke weed all day.
Yeah.
And I would also say embrace your passions. When we told people we were going to move from Florida out west to grow pot, they told us we were crazy.
Of course.
You guys are crazy.
Come on.
You're going to leave here? You're going to go out there and grow pot? Yeah, you guys are crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We did it, right?
Yeah.
Started getting into media. People tell us, what are you guys doing with this media? What does this even mean? Well, we like to do it. It makes us feel good. We're informing people. We're collaborating with people. It's good stuff. That people were like, what are you doing with this? Well, guess what? I was with some industry insider guys the other day, and it really blew my mind because I don't really dwell on this stuff, but they looked at me and they said, Bill, you realize that Beard Bros is the industry news. There is nobody else.
Yeah,
They started naming like publications. They're like, they're not for the industry. They're not for the industry. I mean, MJ Biz is for the industry, but for the business side of it.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I mean, they start naming people, and I'm like, oh my God, these are OGs in the industry, and they're telling me that I'm one of the very, very few industry cannabis news media outlets.
Yep.
That shit blew my mind. That was pretty wild.
And then you start taking this shit more serious. We're like, damn, I got a civic duty to this shit. Damn.
You do.
Yeah, man. Same thing happened to me. I told this story a bunch of times on the show. Like, Paul from Proper Doing said, yo, bro, you're documenting the end of cannabis prohibition. You know that, right? Your grandkids are going to watch this and know what happened, who was there, who did what strain, and et cetera, fill in the blanks.
Goosebumps.
And I'm like, well, damn.
Yeah.
And that was like episode probably like in the teens. You know what I'm saying? And I started really taking this shit serious. Like I was just having fun, trying to like put some spotlight on the brand, have some fun with it, interview cool people, and then like, whoa, shit.
Then it takes on a historical context.
Well, goddamn. All right, let me start taking this a little more seriously then. So it's cool, man.
Well, and we are, and I recognize it because we're in LA, but like, and people get mad at me when I say this, but LA is the epicenter of cannabis.
No,
people can get mad about all they want. Listen, I love San Francisco, I
dude.
love NorCal, love New York. Don't get me wrong, but Hollywood is what makes it the epicenter.
It's a worldwide hub.
Yeah, I mean, well, and all of the culture is all the cannabis culture is broadcast from Hollywood, so they're dictating what other people in other places consider
for
culture.
the masses. Yeah,
and so. For us, we just again, luckily and gratefully, landed in the right spot to make a splash.
Nice, dude. Why'd you come up to Sacramento?
Actually, it was during COVID time, so we were doing a lot more remote work ourselves.
Sure.
And my girl actually had a job opportunity within cannabis industry as well that was up here.
Cool.
So moved up here. At that time, another fun part of our story and of our struggle for almost a decade in LA. We lived together as adult brothers.
Oh,
so that was
for life.
That was also I'd been with my girl for quite a while at that time, and it was a natural progression for her. So it kind of aligned. Funny part of that story is our landlord that we'd been in his house for 9 years lived in Hawaii, and the house he was living in there, they got put up for sale. He was renting there and renting out his house in Hawaii. His house he was in got put up for sale, so he got out of there, and he's like, hey, I know it's COVID, but the only place I've got to go to is the house you guys have been living in, paying my mortgage for the last 9 years on. So in the middle of COVID, all these things, but everything happens for a reason.
Sure.
I think it was good for us to split out. Now, I'm able to cover a lot more of the NorCal stuff. He's able to cover more of the SoCal stuff. It means we aren't able to do as much stuff together, and it takes a little bit more effort to, get us together for something like this on location somewhere, whereas in LA. But no, it spawned from that, and I like it because I've been in LA I think long enough, and this Sac feels a little bit more like Pennsylvania.
It does,
a little bit more
bro.
greenery, a little bit more northeast, a little bit more season change.
I say that shit. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Well, I mean, and on top of that, people, what do you sacrifice? As brothers, I lived with my brother for my entire 40s.
Wow.
My entire 40s.
You guys get along?
How many people? Yeah,
Pretty
we
well?
do. We do for the most part. I mean, it's like any brothers.
Yeah, for sure.
You get sick of people after being around, but
dude.
but literally for 9 years, we lived in the same house building this brand.
Wow.
That's
and cool, man.
I consider that a sacrifice as a 40-something-year-old man to live with my brother.
A blessing.
Yeah,
I would look back on those
definitely
years.
a sacrifice, but it also I think is what prompted a lot. Because even if we lived like in different neighborhoods, 15 minutes away from each other, it wasn't the same as while a lot of this was being built. Literally like leaning back and yelling down the hallway,
sharing
hey,
ideas.
did you see this yet?
Instant ideas.
Hey, did you think, like things
Real
pop
time.
in your head right away,
Real
and
time.
they get acted on.
Yeah.
Whereas now there's something may happen down there that he hears about, and I might not hear about it for a couple of weeks, or vice versa.
Yep.
Because we're just dealing in different worlds and talking about different things a lot of times.
And the funny part was that started because the house we ended up living in, we were actually cultivating in too.
Oh,
so it was the second house in the valley we cultivated in. Obviously, we moved on to warehouses, and then the garage and the spare bedroom stopped being the veg and the flower, and then we got into several warehouses. So
Right.
But it was it was just a matter of when you're starting a business like that, you had to have two adults live together in the same house to be able to build out the grow, to be able to service the grow and actually provide a product to people.
Yeah.
And so we just made that sacrifice of combining bills and resources together for a common goal.
Tight. That's cool, man. I had no idea you guys lived there 9 years. That's cool. Not a lot of people can say that. So, what's the next 5-10 years look like for Beard Bros? What's on the horizon, boys?
Expansion. Want to get into more states.
Okay.
We've got our eye on a few states. Obviously, we're East Coast, so we all, Florida's been on our eye.
Oh, yeah.
I would love Pennsylvania. Is so overly restrictive. There's almost no way to get into that place. But
What's the story there? Not to cut you, but I'm curious.
they're even more restricted than Florida is.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Everything has to be vertical, like
It's
Florida?
all vertical. I want to say was Pennsylvania the one that you had to show 2 million liquid just to apply for the damn license. They have these weird things where like you can have retails but not a grow, and I think that the grows can't have retails, and they like broke up the vertical, which Florida did the opposite and forced a vertical.
Yeah.
Neither one of those works. Don't break up the vertical and don't force it. Just allow it to happen.
Yeah.
If people want to be vertically integrated because they want to control everything from seed to sale, let them. If somebody wants to specialize in processing, let them.
Right.
Why are we forcing people to do stuff? We know in Florida they force people to do it because of corruption, right? That's the point in Florida.
Sure.
They only gave out 7 licenses at first. It expanded to 20. It should have been expanded to 40 or 60 by now, but they're holding it up. They started making so much money with their monopoly that they're now controlling the Florida Senate and House, and they're just not doing things. They're holding stuff up in court, just slowing it down. Yeah, I mean they're getting ready to give out another 20 or 22 licenses in Florida. But we're all still waiting and waiting and waiting. They announced it. They had 70 people apply. They're going to give out 20 or 22 of them. I forget the exact number.
Okay.
And then they're like, we're going to announce it in a month. Well, we'll announce it in 6 months. We'll announce it someday.
Yeah,
in the meantime, I think they're waiting out for the rec vote, in my opinion. I don't even know if they're going to give out those 20 medicals, because the way it works in Florida is if rec passes, medicals just get to do both. Just do it. We're not going to add any licenses. We're just going to allow the medicals to sell rec.
Interesting.
It's crazy.
The reality is both states and most states just didn't use common sense policy when they set them up. Pennsylvania still doesn't allow for a lot of beverages into their dispensaries, but you can go buy the Minnesota-based hemp-derived beverages at a pizza shop in Pennsylvania. But you can't get out of the dispensary that's medical. You would think that the downstream flow would start at the dispensary and end up at the pizza shop from an out-of-state import.
Yeah.
And Florida, the same thing. They have a lot of daily limits there. They have a lot of restrictions on product types.
Yeah. So I mean, for Beard Bros, we want to get into more states while they're keeping the states separated by legislation. The goal is to expand into more states. We got into Missouri's popping right now. All the states around. Oh, Missouri's popping. All the states around it. Illinois is expensive, and all the other states either only have medical or they have nothing.
Wow.
And so think about it. Kansas City borders Kansas City, Missouri. So they just drive across the border and it's adult use, and then they go back home and they could go to jail for 10 years for it.
Jeez.
It's insane. Literally, imaginary line that runs through the countryside
That controls your
determines if
future.
you can buy it or go to jail.
Yeah.
And so So Missouri's popping because of the illegality around it.
Yeah. Those are good states.
They did 1.5 billion in sales last year. We do 5 in California. Missouri did 1/3 of what we did.
Wow.
So when you think about it, it's pretty wild.
That's very
They
relevant.
only have about a quarter of the population. So there's that extra overflow in there. But Ohio looks like it's getting ready to pop off. I think they approved their adult use. And, a lot of people don't realize Ohio's got 12, 13 million people in it. It's not tiny. You know, you think of it, you think of your Utahs and stuff where they have like 1 million people or less. That's not Ohio. And so there's all these states coming on. And for us, what we want to do for the people that we work with in those states is just help them with the learning curve, right? Like if they haven't done this before, we can see stuff coming from a mile away because we've been through it.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest advantage that we can give to working with a startup is the fact of the knowledge that we've had and the things we've seen and the products that we know work. Now, does everything that works in California, is it going to work in Ohio? No. We learned that we did a little bit of work in Montana.
Okay.
And and they're, I don't want to say behind, but they're just not as advanced as
that
California
was a polite way to put it.
But still the same thing.
Many
Like you
people
can't
aren't,
just
though.
you can't just run in there with a disposable live resin vape and think you're going to run the market. They're not ready for it. They're still running 510s and batteries.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So I mean, you could get in there early, but if you try to go in there, you're going to pull a Canada. You're just going to go over. And so there is pitfalls you have to watch out for. And again, that's where the advantage of operating in a market like Los Angeles for over a decade now really comes in as a value for somebody in another state that's just starting up a cannabis business and doesn't have decades of experience.
Yeah. That's sick, dude. And that's where you guys come in.
That is. And that's what we're doing. We're doing licensing deals.
Yeah.
I joke, I call it the poor man cookies model.
Yeah,
I'm running licensing deals.
I'm doing the same shit, bro. I'm doing the same shit. I'm open for business, folks.
we're all open for licensing deals. Let's go.
We're all open. Nice, man. So, what do you guys know that the industry should know, or what you calling bullshit on out there in the cannabis industry? You can each answer separately or together.
Let me see. That's a tricky one. There's a lot of them like that.
There's a lot of them.
As far as like current bullshit, I'm gonna go with the Schedule 3.
Oh,
Right?
please.
Everybody
Please speak on that, brother.
wants to say they're going to treat it differently.
Yep.
Until they say so, I don't fucking believe them. It's that simple. Prop 64 ruined California cannabis.
Absolutely.
Everybody says it's going to be great. Last minute, they threw some legislation in there to allow license stacking. We all know how that worked out. Just think if we only had small farms for the first 5 years. We didn't have these mega farms with 1 million square feet of cultivation.
Yeah.
Right? Be a whole California landscape and cannabis would be completely different today.
Absolutely, man.
If we adhered to what the voters voted on in 2016, which was to allow the small and cottage industries to gain a foothold before big money came in.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point earlier, the small operators would have built and then expanded, and then built and then expanded.
Yeah.
And they'd be a lot more powerful right now. I mean, not to say that they aren't, that they haven't found pivots and they haven't found partners to work with, but it would be more wholly owned by the brands as opposed to having to partner in with an investor, partner in with an equity firm, partner in with somebody that doesn't necessarily have their best interest in mind because they didn't have a path to do it themselves.
Yeah. So part of my thing right now would be, man, until they if they just, here's what I keep telling people because people have been really jumping on us. I didn't know this many people trusted the government still.
Right.
To be perfectly honest, because I'm getting
It's a
beat up
scary
online
stat, dude.
about talking about Schedule 3. So now my official statement is this: unless they release other legislation to go along with rescheduling, we're all fucked.
Yeah.
Because if you go look, they have a whole system in place, state and federal, on how Schedule 3 drugs are manufactured and distributed. It's already been there. It's been there forever.
Yeah.
Not forever, since the 70s at
Through
least.
pharmacies, right?
Pharmacies. And so if you go look at how that happens, there's no exclusions for anything. Like that's how it happens. And so if they don't do anything different, I should assume that by the letter of the law, that's how it's going to work. But again, it's amazing to me how many people just get on and go, you think they're going to do that? And my response is, you think they give a shit about us?
Well, yeah, I would say if
No,
they've ever, whenever they've treated us differently, has it been better than the way it is, or has it always been worse than the way it is?
Negative, for sure.
And I kind of still look at it as somewhat of a diversion tactic. Like we should be still talking about descheduling, not rescheduling. So now they've given us the carrot of rescheduling, and now they've come behind with Schumer and Wyden and Booker with the CAOA Act that now people are trying to push as, oh, this is better than Schedule 3. Well, it has a progressive tax in it that jumps from 10% to 15% to 20% to 25%. Do you think you can afford another 10 to 25% tax?
No way, man.
On the supply chain as it is on top of your state that you're operating in?
No way.
But they're now trying to get us to, kind of like they're trying to do for this November's election, vote for the better piece of shit. There isn't a good option.
Yeah.
We're giving you 2 different consistencies and colors of pieces of shit. Choose which one you like more, or which one smells less that you want to choose.
Yeah, bro.
They're not giving us a good path forward.
Yeah. Right, and let's face it. For 50 years since Nixon in 1970 came up with the CSA, right, and put cannabis at number 1, they have told us for 50 years it has no medical value. We have had to fight them, prove them wrong, go to jail, and then they think they just flip a switch and all of a sudden they get the benefit. So they benefited by putting us in jail and asset forfeiture and taking all of our shit over and over and over and over. And now they say, oh, you know what? We were wrong. You're right. Pay us. No, deschedule. I'm a deschedule or nothing kind of guy. Listen, they exempted tobacco from the Controlled Substance Act. Why? Because the tobacco industry lobbied them during that time to exclude it. Alcohol got excluded from it because there's an amendment that outlawed it and then re-legalized it. We could do either one of those things for cannabis. We could just say it's excluded from the CSA, right? Like, we were wrong. It does have medical value. It's excluded now. Or they could come up with an amendment, right? They outlawed prohibition. They outlawed alcohol, and then they re-allowed, and then they illegalized alcohol.
Sure.
2 different amendments. I forget the numbers now. But they could do the same thing with cannabis. But they don't want to. I've been saying this for a couple years now, and California was kind of a microcosm of this. They let all of us little guys stick our head up. Then they start playing a game of whack-a-mole between legislation and taxation. You know, you can't handle it, right? So little guys start getting beat up. In the meantime, it's being normalized. They're developing a market. There's an entire system of selling this product all across the state and soon the country. And then what they do is they make the regulation and legislation so restrictive and overbearing that us little guys can't make it. And when the big guys come in, guess what they start doing? They start lobbying. And guess what happens when they start throwing money at Washington? The regulations go down. The taxes go down. You mark my words, in 10 years, we're going to be in a spot where 99% of the small businesses that went out of business now could have survived if they would have come right in under what will be the regulation and legislation in 10 years.
Wow.
Come back and play this in 10 years and tell me I'm wrong. You won't. I guarantee it.
You saw it here first, folks, on the Good Pizza Podcast. That's crazy, bro. Yeah. Wow. Interesting insight. I like that. I was hoping I knew we were going to touch on that. I just didn't know when. That was good shit, man. Yeah. That needs to be talked about. And I've been following what you've been saying about it, man.
Yeah, and for everybody out there, I'm not trying to make anybody mad. I'm trying to make you think, and I'm trying to make you get in there on those comment sections and tell the federal government that we're not looking to do. You're not just going to control something that you've persecuted us over for decades. I mean, people have died and gone to jail for this. Yeah, and then the feds think they're just going to say, okay, we're going to let you have it if you pay us enough. Fuck that.
Fuck out of here. How do you guys like to consume cannabis? What's your twist? Joints, blunts, bowls? What's your
definitely flower first.
Flower first, okay.
I'm definitely a blunt smoker. My girl and I both are, and both kind of high volume smokers. So
high volume smokers, I like it.
I'm not a fan of the joints that go out if you aren't hitting it fast enough and you have to pass it quickly. So I like that the blunt a little bit more slow, a little more controlled.
Yeah.
I know it's not
you
the greatest.
You like these big old doinks, I'll tell you that.
I do like them. Don't get me wrong.
These won't go out on you, kid.
Yeah. Not a big fan of tobacco. Bill and I both have had him much longer than me of smoking cigarettes in our younger days. So
what'd you smoke?
I was Camel Light and Marlboro Light, and then
Camels. 27 years.
No Newports?
I was going to say
no Newports.
That was my way out of it, was smoking the Newports into the menthols, and then when it was just like the menthols were just too much, they went away.
Yeah,
but honestly, a lot of that smoking those were to cover the cannabis small. Yeah. You needed that on the East Coast. You needed your car and your clothes to smell like cigarettes.
You lit that shit up immediately.
I went to a college prep school with not that many people that smoked.
Okay.
And I would smoke in the parking lot before I went into school.
Yeah.
So I'd be smoking a cigarette and I'd be smoking a bowl.
Yeah, dude.
So that I'd go in smelling like tobacco.
Yep.
My teachers that knew I also smelled like weed.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in PA as a 16-year-old driving, because let's face it, most people that are smokers at the age of 16, where are you smoking at? You're smoking in your car. It's the only thing you own that your parents don't.
Yeah.
Or the only place you're by yourself.
Yeah.
That you can get away with it. So everybody's smoking in their car. I would literally light a cigarette, set it in the ashtray, smoke my bowl while I'm driving, and then smoke another cigarette afterwards, because God forbid if you ever got pulled over and it smelled like weed back in the 80s in Pennsylvania, it was bad.
Yeah, it's all
and
bad.
so I didn't smoke just for that, but yeah, and when I got here to California, I quit smoking cigarettes nicotine with cannabis. I got to the point where I wanted to slow down. I couldn't completely quit. I was smoking native spirits by that time, you know, the organic ones.
Shit.
And I said,
just
you know
burn
what?
like a blunt,
Dude,
bro.
they burn forever too. That was the other thing. That'll make you quit because those things burn 2-3 times as long. But I realized if I'm out here in California smoking the best weed in the world, I need to be smoking at least organic cigarettes that are natural. So, but then I got to the point where like I'm only smoking 2 or 3 of these cigarettes a day. Why don't I just smoke a joint when I want a cigarette instead?
There you go.
And within a couple of weeks, that was it. Done smoking. So
solid.
Yeah, 27
like
years
it.
though, 13 to about 40.
Yeah,
I smoked
dude.
cigarettes.
I was 12 to 30.
Yep.
18 years, bro. It's scary shit.
Dude, and I honestly, I thought I felt better within 1 year. Ooh, no, 5 years I felt better. And now I'm like, oh my God, 10 years. Like you don't realize how much better you feel. And since I've smoked copious amounts of pot. So it's not just smoke. It was nicotine and cigarettes in particular.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can do everything better when you stop smoking cigarettes.
Well, while flower is the preferred method, I don't think there is a method of consumption that we don't utilize.
Cool.
Yeah.
You guys fuck with dabs and edibles and tinctures.
I'm an edibles judge for Emerald Cup for the 3rd year in a row this year.
How the fuck does that work? How many days do you need to do that, dude?
This year we have
You gotta go in and dry every time,
We have
bro.
like 47 products, and I think they gave us 21 days.
That don't even make sense, bro.
You got to eat 2 or 3 a day.
You have to do 2 a day and see if you got a head change. You're gonna be fucking sleepy, my guy. Your tolerance is gonna go way the fuck up.
Last year there was a lot more entries and a lot more of the beverages because the beverages look. It's not bad to eat gummies.
actually-
Eat a couple gummies.
Yeah.
You can keep on. But yeah, when you're drink the beverages, and they're all the sparkling beverages and different flavor profiles and all that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean we've made our own salve for close to a decade that we use for topicals.
Nice.
Edibles, concentrates.
Yeah. You know, I find that since we educate people, we tend to have more knowledge on the different form functions and consumption methods. I mean, just for instance, I'm a flower guy. Dabs for me are usually either a daytime or a strictly inside thing because I don't want to go outside because I don't smoke in my house. Don't smoke flower in the house.
Gotcha.
I do it in the garage or the back porch. And so if I don't want to get up from the TV, I grab the Carta and do a dab. So concentrates as well. But I mean, a lot of people don't even realize that with a tincture, that's the great thing we did with our tinctures. So a tincture is actually 3 different form factors. People don't even realize that. Put it in your mouth and hold it in your mouth for a couple minutes. It's a sublingual. Put it in your mouth, hold it for about 30 seconds, and swallow the rest. It's a sublingual combined with an edible. And then put it in your mouth and just swallow it, and it's an edible.
I didn't think of it like that because it says on the tinctures, hold it under the tongue for X amount of seconds. I didn't think of that.
So you get so when you get a sublingual effect, you're taking the THC or the CBD directly through your mouth into your blood. And so now it goes into the blood in your head and it circulates around your body and it eventually gets to your liver, which is what cleans your blood out. The reason that is a much faster acting and shorter lasting buzz is because it's very similar to smoking, right? You inhale right now. Yeah. THC goes to your lungs, goes into your blood, starts pumping around your body. You got THC in your blood, you get high. When you eat an edible, it doesn't go to your blood right away. It gets digested in your stomach and it has to go to your liver. And in there, you get what they call the first pass metabolism. So if it goes to your liver before being in your blood, it transfers into hydroxy 11 tetrahydrocannabinol, not delta 9. That's why you're high from an edible much longer, much more and much longer an edible, but that's also what makes it fantastic for pain.
Yes.
That's why you eat edibles for pain because it's stronger and longer lasting.
And why it's not dependent on how high volume of a flower or a concentrate smoker you are on how much edibles hit you.
I love that. Yeah. We get that all the time. Oh, I can take plenty of edibles. I smoke all day. I smoke 3 grams of concentrate a day. Yeah, good. Let me know how that works out.
All right, pal.
Let me know how that works out. Bill, I was plastered to the floor. I don't know what to do.
Okay. Don't eat no more than 3 of these cozy cubes, dog. You're gonna be fucked up.
So I mean, we like Jeff said, we really consume cannabis in just about every single form factor there is.
I like it. These guys are official. Okay, boys, it's time to hit us with your top 3 strains of all times. We're gonna go Bill.
Okay.
And then we're gonna go you, fella, Jeff. Yeah.
Top 3.
Top 3, man. Hit me. So old school, new school, Desert Island.
You know, I'm going to go with Northern Lights for my old school.
Okay.
Because it was some of the first seeds that we were getting in Florida from the seed banks, Sensi seed banks and stuff. Late 80s, early 90s. Desert Island, it's OG. You know, I've watched the show. Everybody says OG. Cool. I can't not say OG for Desert Island because if I had to pick one, it's going to be an OG. New strain, I'm going to give you, I like Permanent Marker.
Yeah.
I think it's got like an OG twist with like with a Sharpie to it, and I'm not mad at it. Like, I don't,
Perm's cool, man.
You know, I like
Perm. Hell yeah. What you got, Jeff?
For my old school, it's got a bunch of different names, but I'm basically just talking about that South Florida Crippy. That sweet orange citrus that came out of there. Never had any of that tangine, never any of that. It was just that sweet, and everybody just knew it as Crippy. That's what I moved around a lot during my college days, and that kind of was Florida's OG at the time.
Yeah,
Crippy was Florida's OG. It was what was always the high dollar. It was what was always in demand. So yeah, that takes me back to a lot of experiences that I can like vividly picture in my mind smoking that strain too. My Desert Island one is also OG. I don't even know if I'd narrow it down to a specific type of OG, because all of them have their own right pheno that you can find, and but that would be what I'd want all day, every day, especially if I'm stranded and all I'm doing is daydreaming.
Yeah.
And my new school one, and this is a little bit of local sack love. I anytime I see it around, I grab the Bubba's Girl from Cam.
Okay.
I love that Bubba's Girl.
Shout out to Cam, man.
They grow that right.
I love that. Hell yeah. So we're gonna take it now to, if you could bring a strain back, what would it be? We'll go Jeff first.
I'm sure it's around, but one that I remember us getting when we first moved to Colorado that I really, really was smoking on a lot was the Cindy 99.
Yeah.
Never had that one.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was a Colorado specific one, but that's where we got a couple of those. The first few months we were there.
You know, I don't know if there really is a sour diesel out there anymore. Is there a real sour diesel out there?
You want to give it a whirl?
Yeah.
Dude, this is fucking nice, bro.
Okay.
It's not super fucking gas, but this is very enjoyable.
I'm not mad at it.
I'm
not
mad
at it at all.
Mad at it.
You're not wrong on this.
Shout out to Greasy Couture. Appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, dude, I think some people are still holding it down.
No, I
think it's just old moms, bro.
Yeah,
you know
that could be too.
Let's
get it through tissue culture. Let's get it back to what it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, man, what the fuck, dude?
That is what I'm looking forward to, because everybody in the last like year to 18 months has told us, I'm bringing this back, I'm bringing that back, I'm bringing all the old shit back. I'm waiting for like the wave to hit of all of that.
Yep.
That is good. That is close.
It's close, bro. I say like him, Sour Waves, and fuck, who else? There was somebody else. Forgive me, I forget. But I've shouted you out before on the show. They got it, man.
When we got out here in the West Coast, they had what they called West Coast sour diesel, which they were calling kerosene Kush, I believe.
No shit.
You ever heard that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
That sounds
West
cool.
Coast sour diesel, yeah.
That sounds cool. So you're bringing back the sour.
Yep.
And you're bringing back the Cindy 99. I like it. Okay. Weed etiquette. What's your pet peeve? What grinds your gears? Could be smoking, growing, whatever. Something you hear.
Pet peeve for me is when I roll a joint and then I watch people hit it while it's flagging. Fix it. Yeah. Somebody fix it. Stop.
Yeah.
That's one of my little pet peeves.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Solid. Respectable.
I'm trying to think of one specific. I don't know. I would say maybe just good circle etiquette, because you get people that you pass it one way and it disappears around instead of coming back around in the circle.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Disappears out into the nether regions and you never see it again.
That's why I do like COVID for not passing.
Dude,
that's the one thing about COVID. We don't have to pass joints anymore.
And
you
it
can just keep it
somewhat.
Yeah. You make it stick when you want now.
Yeah.
You just don't pass.
Don't smoke away. Yeah. And they don't look at you crazy anymore.
No, you used to get looked at crazy.
Yeah. Favorite place to smoke, boys?
I would say like a mountaintop after a hike is a nice place to smoke. Like it. You know, get to the top of the mountain, get you a little buzz on for the trip back down.
Reward.
Yep.
Yeah, solid.
I was going to say just nature in general. At the end of a hike's a good one, or during a hike, but like even just yesterday, my girl and I went to Folsom Lake. Beautiful. Just chilling by the lake.
Perfect.
You know, you bring a bowl and bring a magnifying glass and do some solar hits.
Don't
get any butane in that. Always
no
do.
Way, dude.
That was another Colorado one when we moved there.
Solar hit.
Oh my God, you got to.
No butane.
If you want straight taste, that's it.
I didn't bring it with me. I should have.
Next time you roll through, bro, bring it.
If you want straight taste,
I do.
Get a clean bowl and hit it with a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
There's no butane. There's no nothing. You're making it hot and you're smoking it.
Yeah, no, I fucking totally get it. Yeah. I love this.
I remember the first time I didn't even, as old a head as I am, I remember we got the Colorado. We're sitting on somebody's porch. They come out with a bong and a magnifying glass. I go, what the hell are you doing? They go, watch.
I'm about to do a little science project with my son.
No, it's great.
Gianni, come here. Give me that fucking magnifying
It works.
glass over here. Light your pops up.
Yeah, solar hits are fun.
That's cool, man. All right, favorite song to blaze to, man. It's a beautiful day. You're at the lake. You're at the mountaintop. Smoking that joint. What's playing? You get to choose a song.
Yeah. This might come as a surprise, but if I throw on my Pandora, it's usually on the Jeezy station. It's
All good, bro. I fucks with it.
There's a couple Jeezy songs I really like. My Hood, I think, is one of them.
All right.
That
Throw
would
on
be a
some
good one.
Jeezy. Let's go. Snowman.
I was gonna say,
I'm a 101. I'm a 101 generation guy. What was it? Thug Motivation 101.
Thug Motivation
is my
101
favorite
was
album.
Crazy, yeah. I made a lot of money that album. Yeah.
I'll narrow it just to a genre because it's usually what I'm listening to. Is the late '90s hip hop.
Oh yeah.
Some Gangstar, something like that.
Super
I
solid.
like the stuff that has some
That
good
boom
lyrical
bap.
content to it, and a good beat that flows behind
Yep.
it. But Gangstar is one that popped to
Gangstar's
Discipline or
fucking
Moment
great.
of Truth,
Yep.
Above the Clouds, all those songs.
Above the Clouds is a good one. The Good Pizza Party started to Above the Clouds.
Nice.
Yeah, my child DJ Lon, man, he started playing that. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. I'm glad I hired the right guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid. Favorite stoner food?
Stoner food.
You're high as a fucking kite. What are you getting? What you go to?
For a meal, I'm getting a bacon cheeseburger. Just a nice
Fuck
stoner
dude.
meal.
That's stoner.
Some fries with
What's up?
some ranch would be my go-to stoner meal
Okay.
for a lunch. Or
Did you
something.
start eating ranch before or after you moved to California?
always
With fries?
always ranch?
Always ranch.
always
okay.
ranch, yeah.
Cool. Just curious.
Yeah.
It was a southern
Yeah.
thing to me. The
Yeah.
ranch was
Ranch, you go
ranch
to
and
the south,
fries was always.
dude.
You go to
You're from
Florida,
South
you ain't getting no
Florida.
fries without ranch.
Okay. I learned about that later in life. I do fuck with ranch and fries.
Yeah.
Not pizza, but fries.
Oh no, not on pizza.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
We're from the Northeast. You
No,
don't-
I wasn't accusing.
Yeah, no, you don't put ranch on
He
pizza.
said, let me clear that up right away, dog. You ain't put me in that bucket.
I'm not gonna say an actual meal per se, but when you get that good and high, or you just start raiding the cabinet, and like you might start eating some chocolate and pretzels. Ooh, and then I got some gummy bears. Ooh, and I got some
follow-up, yeah.
cereal. And
Yeah.
before you realize that you've ate like 7 things in a row that
Yeah.
none of them
None
should
of
be
them
eaten
good.
together.
No.
But you're like, man, my stomach feels fantastic right now, and it feels like there should be a battle royale going on.
Yeah. And you know when that gets me to worst is when I eat my edibles to sleep, but I don't go to sleep. Dude, the munchies you
know.
get about 2.5 hours
Dude,
after edibles.
they're violent.
You better get to bed.
They're violent,
They
bro.
are violent, dude. I'll be in there, like he said, I'll have 7 different things in
Yeah.
bed. And I'm like eating some
They're
of this and some of this.
uncontrollable.
I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
They're like all
Yeah,
high.
dude.
You're like, what am I doing?
Over the last couple years, I came to that realization, like, edible munchies are way worse, bro. And they're uncontrollable.
They
And
they
your
are
food just feels good in there, man. You know?
More. What else do I
Yeah,
have?
hell yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, so we're going to take it a step deeper, boys. What is your middle of the night, 1 a.m., you're a scumbag and you know it, you see it on the counter, you're murdering the whole thing. You're guilty.
It's gonna be that pack of deli cookies.
Packadeli
Right, the
cookies.
chocolate chip cookies you got from the deli.
Yeah, like the
And you're just
homemade
like,
joints
I can't
from the
stop.
deli.
I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
stop.
Soft, still a little soft. Yep. Or is Jeff disciplined?
No,
You
I'm
know
not.
what it
I'm
is?
not.
Listen,
9 years.
Too many
listen.
options.
He has the amount of snacks that he keeps around without eating is
Oh,
unbelievable.
got you,
So he's
got
having
you,
an
got
issue
you.
with figuring out which snack.
Okay, so you.
I'm
get
the
your
opposite. I
stash.
can't have it in the house or I eat it.
Yeah, same.
Right?
Same,
He's
like,
he's like my parents. They'll have They'll have every candy bar known to
Fuck,
man,
dude.
and they eat 1 a day. Not me. I gotta have 10 every
Yeah,
time, so I don't
yeah.
keep it around the house. But every time we travel, Jeff shows up with an entire bag of different snacks. That's why I know he's running through his head right now. Which snack do I name?
Well, and actually, I'm thinking of it probably as more like a leftovers, like a good meal that was made, and there's a bunch of leftovers in
Smacking
the
out
fridge.
leftovers late night. Yeah.
Like right now,
Yeah.
there's a cornbread casserole that we made over the weekend.
Shit.
That like it's literally a side, but it's something I can go. Oh, I'm just gonna heat up
Goddamn.
a slab of that cornbread casserole and eat that. So like
We are from the South.
If I was high
Yeah, I'm
and I
mad at
saw
that,
a
bro.
big slab, I definitely could go ham on that whole thing.
Yeah, not mad at that. What casserole?
Cornbread casserole.
Cornbread casserole. I like it. Well, if you guys could smoke with 2 people, one that's dead, one that's alive, who would they be?
Carl Sagan. And I think Seth Rogen will be fun to smoke with.
You fucking right, he would.
Yeah. So yeah, Carl Sagan and Seth Rogen. That's a pretty good rotation.
You smoke a house plant, or you bring your own head
I'm
stash?
bringing my own. No offense.
No offense, homie.
No offense, Seth. I'm
No
bringing my
offense,
own
homie.
weed.
No doubt.
Should have thought about this one before.
Yeah, so we were
That's cool. That's cool. Because you know who you could just say off the top, but you're like, I kind of want to make this a good one.
Make it good. Make sure nobody else has
Because
it.
I can really smoke with
Carl
some people.
Sagan's just deep, dude. Like, I'd really like to get stoned with him and just talk about the universe.
Yeah.
Like, that shit would be pretty
Hell
wild.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably go somewhere like that. I'm just trying to think of a specific person. Somebody that is a scientist or, an expert in their field where when you got high, you could just start probing them with a lot of questions on their aspects. So I don't know. That could be a lot of different people these days. That could be like an Elon Musk or, something like that. Or even
comes up.
Even a Rogan.
Comes up.
Like, cause the type of people that if you got high, where the conversation would just ping pong back and
Rogan,
forth between so many different crazy conversations. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting, like a George Washington or a Thomas Jefferson.
There you go.
One of those that was at the beginning of our country.
This fucking madness.
That was in a time of such chaos, but had the foresight to put so many things in place that 250 years later we're still adhering to.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah, that's some pretty epic stuff when you think about it.
Dude.
Writing laws that
And they have
250
to
years
smoke
later.
with you.
And I was just, they were all about the hemp, so you have to assume that they were smoking or they were consuming it, eating it in some fashion, but they weren't just smoking hemp.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm thrilled to ask you guys this next question, as you guys are from the Northeast and Florida, because Florida has good pizza too. Where can I find a good pizza joint in California? Where are the hidden gems? If we're talking Sac, we might share a couple of the same ones, so let me know.
Because we probably gotten put onto them by the same person or a couple people.
No doubt. I feel like I tapped in all of those, but
I don't know if I'm going to have an answer for you for this one.
and if you don't, it's cool, because you're from the
I
Northeast.
do. Yeah.
And
Well,
if you ain't passing none of these spots, then I ain't mad at that either.
No, I mean it's not. I just haven't searched them out, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I grew up with places like Morici's and College Hill Pizza and things like that in Easton. Up on College Hill, Campus Pizza up on College Hill. We had some good pizza. Morici's though, that's Sicilian. The square thick dish
over
Sicilian
on Wilson, like past.
No, they're literally right on like
Hill?
Lafayette Street on College Hill, like right on the main street.
I never tried that one,
Oh yeah,
bro.
Marici's was my shit when I was a kid.
I was on 19th and Butler.
Okay. I
By
knew
CR
exactly-
Fanny's. Remember CR Fanny's?
Dude,
It's not
I had
CR Fanny's no more.
I grew up with. I knew exactly where you were. That's hilarious.
On the corner
I had a
there.
relative that lived on 10th and Ferry.
Oh yeah,
Right down
Ferry's
a couple,
popping.
10 block. Yeah, Ferry.
That's
I'll bet
the
Ferry
hood.
is popping.
That shit is
Brent?
super
Yeah,
hood.
right. So listen, I got a good hood story. When the brickweed I used to get, I used to go to the Chew Street projects in Bethlehem.
Oh yeah,
And you would drive through
On
and buy
Chew.
pillows, little
Yeah,
dime
for sure.
bags. I got to get this story out on tape somewhere. So what they did is they recognized us college kids were coming, or us high school kids kept coming up and buying weed from them. So some of them got smart and decided they were going to try to start ripping us off, and they would put alfalfa in a bag.
shit.
And if you're doing a quick transaction on the street when you're driving through, you're like, here's the 20, boom, boom, boom. You get down the road, oh, I got alfalfa. Fuck, this guy. So we came up with the idea, okay, they want to sell us alfalfa. We'll get them. We took a $10 bill and we took a $1 bill and we cut them in half and we taped them back together and then we folded it up. So we had two 10s with a half of a one taped to it. So you hit a guy at the beginning of the projects and get your dime bag. You hit a guy at the end of the projects and you get your other dime bag. And when they figure out they got a bill that's worthless, they got to find each other to split $11.
Yeah.
That was my little revenge on getting robbed for the dime bags.
That was ballsy, bro. That was ballsy.
So
Damn.
So pizza spots.
Yeah, pizza spots.
To jump back on
I
topic.
forgot what the fuck we
I'm
were talking
so
about. Thank you,
bad.
bro, because I was
I will
like,
take you right off.
I'm about to look at my notes.
Thankfully, it's all pizza stuff right
Yeah,
behind
yeah,
you, so I
yeah,
had no choice
no
but to
doubt.
remember. I'll give you a couple of them. So in my college days, there was 5-star pizza in Altoona, in PA. That was $5 large pizzas on Monday.
Damn.
So as a college kid, and it was Sbarro style,
life.
the big pizza, the big slices, like 8 or 12 slices and like a 24 or 26 inch. So me and my roommate used to go there every Monday and pick up like 5 or 6 of them.
No shit.
Eat almost like a full one by yourself that day, and then throughout the whole week, whenever you needed lunch or a snack or something to take with you to class, you were taking pizza with you. So it wasn't great quality pizza, but for the time
Keep
and
it
the
alive in
value,
college.
Yeah. Jacksonville area in Florida has got a place called Moon River Pizza. It's down where we lived in Jacksonville and where our parents live up in Fernandina. And they've got a white cheddar pizza that's fucking
White
just
cheddar
bomb.
with sauce or no?
It's
With
a white sauce, I think. It's a white sauce.
With a white sauce and white cheddar.
I think so, right? The white sauce.
So I think you can get red sauce or white sauce on it, but it's the white cheddar,
I'll
and
try
then
it.
they've got
I
a
fucks
couple
with
other
cheddar.
cheese. But yeah, no,
Fucks with
just
cheddar.
every time I go back, that's definitely where I go. LA, kind of the same thing. I really can't remember any specific LA spot that we ever hit like during the in the Valley. I know we always try and hit up Prince Street now when we're down there that they're popping up
Prince
the Prince
Street
Street
now.
pizzas.
Now,
which
who's
are
the
kinda
guy
a little
that
more-
Prince Street in San Diego is crazy.
Yeah.
I just had that Hot Dabs podcast. Shout out to the homies. Holy shit, man. I was impressed.
When I had Prince, it was good too.
I was impressed.
What is the one place that we would go to? I just totally lost it. We'll have to move on from that one.
No, it's all right.
And then the two spots I know of up here, like I said, probably came from the same referral to you, is Anonimo, and I know you fuck around with them on
They're
your
my
stuff.
sponsor.
Yep.
Shout out my other sponsor.
And that was Carter from CAD.
Yep,
Shout out
yep.
Carter, always giving that one. And then Benji's Woodfire. I think I saw you put up something about Benji's.
So
the
I
last
do.
guest or last couple of guests or
I
something.
repost them a lot.
I
They
almost
tag me,
ordered
bro.
some and brought some.
Never had it, bro. Never had it. Because, he opens at like 3, 4. So it's like, doesn't really work with my schedule. I need to get over there. Everybody I know knows him. Ruben over here behind the camera knows him. He shoots for him. Jordan from Blueprint knows him. My bro Exotics 916. My other grow partner knows him. They're all like friends. Somehow I've never met this guy or been there. So, and I heard it's fire.
Yeah.
And everybody can't be lying.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I did grow up in the Northeast, but one of my favorite things was Strombolis and calzones. Not even just
fuck
pizza.
yeah, Strombolis
But the
are
Strombolis up there, they make them good.
Man, so good.
out in Forks.
Forks,
there was
okay.
the place we used to go to in the Forks Plaza there, Sullivan Trail, Forks
Sullivan
Plaza.
Trail, okay,
What was
yeah,
the
no
name
Sullivan
of it?
Trail.
I can't remember. There was a pizza spot there. That was where
Next to, like,
all
the
of us
food
kids
lane.
went. It was next to the food lane. Remember the food lane? Anyway,
I don't know.
I'll have to look that one up. But it was like that was where all of us kids went. We were all skateboarding around. We'd go get pizza.
Yeah.
It was either Marici's on the hill or God, I can't remember the place. out in
Strombolis,
Forks,
man.
yeah.
I was like that Italian kid that got the weird sandwiches for lunch, and like on class trips, my mother would go to DeCola's, give me a Stromboli, so I have a big fucking greasy Stromboli. I'd be fucking, the kids would be like, "What is that?" I'm like, Stromboli, but you don't have one of these? Like, your mom don't give you these?
Yeah.
It was like, I love class trips. I knew I was getting a Stromboli. Bro. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, you can eat them cold, bro.
They're great.
fucking
They're great anytime.
Yeah,
I love Stromboli.
yeah, for real.
And I don't really think that they hit Strombolis like much outside the Northeast. Like you hear calzones everywhere.
Calzones,
but the
yeah, but no
Stromboli is
Strombolis.
definitely.
I don't know why. It's so easy. It's just fucking.
So it's a pizza that's wrapped. You have the toppings wrapped inside.
Yeah, dude,
That's really
there's
what
no
it is.
ricotta like a fucking calzone. That's like the only difference,
Yeah.
bro. Like, I don't know. What do we know, right?
What-
What do we know? All right, so now it's time to shed some light and show some respect and pay some homage to your favorite plug from back in the day. You don't have to say his real name, but just give him a shout out. Who took care of you? You called, they answered.
we probably both had the same plug. It was the guy.
That's
so,
okay.
So listen, this is a good story.
Your
So
brother-
I
everybody-
want to say we hit on him a little bit earlier when we were talking,
Yeah.
but
oh,
so everybody-
the homie
this
from
is
Florida?
Florida guy.
Yeah, from Florida. So
Okay.
everybody, Mids has become pretty popular.
Yeah.
Right. And so Mids now is, average to below average,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
So back in the day in Florida, this was probably 1990, not even that late even. That
I mean,
probably,
when I'm
you
talking
were
about
hanging
it
out
more,
with him.
it's like 97, 98.
Mid 90s.
Okay.
And you either had brickweed or you had crippy.
Yeah.
Right? You had either
Yeah,
the
that sounds
$20
about right for
bag or the
Florida.
$100 bag. Okay? And no in between. So that was where the Tennessee bud comes in. And so our friend, the plug I'm talking about, he would literally drive to Tennessee. He knew some old farmers. And believe it or not, I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to find this out later on. Tennessee's got like decades of weed culture that we just don't know about.
shit.
This is
The same moonshine guys are all
moonshine
some
guys. The
backcountry
same
crazy
guys
shit.
that are making moonshine are
Yeah.
growing some fire ass weed in the
believe it,
Tennessee
dude.
mountains. And so he would go up there he knew some people there, so he would go up and get moonshine, but he would also come back. These guys we started calling it mids because it wasn't 20 and it wasn't 100. We would sell for 40
mid-grade.
mid-grade.
Right,
so
right,
mids
right.
for us in the 90s was not bad and not expensive.
Yeah,
it was
yeah, yeah.
mids.
That's
And so
no shit,
he would come
dude.
back. Dude,
But it was good quality.
It was
didn't hear
great
that
quality. So it was
name
homegrown.
till
It wasn't
way later.
flat.
Mids.
Yeah. So it wasn't flat.
Yeah.
He didn't even put it. He got pulled over one time. He didn't even put it in vacuum sealed bags. This dude, I knew he was getting it from farmers because when he would show back up at his house with it, it would be in a 40-pound hog feed bag just in a bag. Like he'd open up the trunk and you could smell it for 2 blocks. And he would drive back from Florida to Tennessee
Jesus,
like
bumping.
this. Yeah. And so, but dude, I'm like, so we had fresh grown, purplish because the Tennessee mountains were getting cold, I guess,
yeah,
and
for sure.
turning purple. But that for a while there, our plug had put us on because nobody else had that. Everybody else had flat weed or crippy. And so the mids came around and everybody was so happy about it.
Yeah,
So
I bet.
that would be our favorite plug. It would be back then.
Shout out to him,
Yeah.
man. You guys still talk to him?
He actually passed away.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
I'm old, so a lot of my friends have
No
passed
doubt.
away.
Yeah, I'm getting there, bro. Well, on June 16th is National Plug Day. Just light
there you
light
go.
one up for him.
We're
man.
gonna light one up for him.
Light one up for him, man. Yeah. You guys care to shout out any mentors that made a big impact on your life at some point in your journey?
I mean, if you're cannabis mentors, we would have to go back to Mickey Martin. He not only was an example for us to look up to for our activism, but he also was personable enough and approachable enough that he allowed 2 guys from the East Coast who harassed him on social media until he said, okay, fine, you want to sell my products? Fucking drive up here. And I guess he thought maybe we wouldn't, so we did.
Yeah.
So we showed up at a gate in Richmond in the middle of the night to come meet him to sell his edibles. But
Nice.
Mickey would definitely be a mentor on the cannabis side.
Tight. Shout out to me.
And I probably just took what Jeff
No, I mean,
said.
I would say him and
Mick?
the guy from Florida were kind of the two main ones. But I mean, I would say all the ones that came before us, you know, the Jack Herreras, the Dennis Perones, like the people we work with in Orange County Normal, Sherry Sicard, Amy Candu from Candu Clemency. They're a reason a lot of these prisoners that we're now touting and they're paying it forward. They're the reason these guys are out because they advocated, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, when Last Prisoner Project wasn't even a thought in anybody's mind yet. These people were going on their own dime to D.C. to advocate for these people. Like we have pictures of us a decade ago holding signs for these people to get out. Most of them are out now. Wow. It's like all those people that really, we talk about everybody risking stuff. Like, a lot of the stuff people still doing trapping wise, or they're risking stuff, but they're risking that for the dollar. Like these people are risking it for the well-being of others, for the greater good, to push things forward and to make that long-lasting impact. So, like to me, even if we never met them, the things they did made them mentors, made them examples we wanted to aspire to. And I'd even throw out a lot of the original like breeders and brands that we saw when we met Scott from Rare Dankness in Colorado and Nicotine in Colorado when we first moved out there in 11. Cool, and people that kind of put us onto things and allowed us to ask them questions the way people ask us questions now. Like Bill pointed out when we got out to the Valley and meeting Kenji and Josh D and guys that were doing it at a different level, Don and Aaron from DNA Genetics, like those kind of guys. The whole team at Heavy 16 was our nutrients when we were doing all of our cultivating and all the support those guys gave us over the years. So I mean, there's been a lot of people behind the scenes that have allowed us to still be here and survive and thrive the way we have.
Shout out to them, man. That's a beautiful thing, bro. Always got to remember your mentors and who helped you along the way, when they didn't have to.
We're standing on the shoulders of giants.
Standing on the shoulders of giants. I love that saying. Absolutely. 100%. Well, before we dive into the rapid fire questions and wrap up this fire-ass interview we just did, if you could go back to the younger you before you jumped off the porch and got into the game, what advice would you give you?
I'd probably give the same advice I just gave earlier to people, man. You got to be passionate. You got to stick with it. Things don't happen overnight.
Hell yeah.
And you never know when that break's coming. The break's probably coming right after you quit. So don't quit.
Every time. Every time.
While I don't regret the way we've handled any of our situations, I would have told my younger self to be a little bit more cutthroat and a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
Because it was required a little bit more a few years back, where you were kind of being passive and kind of letting the chips fall, and maybe could have set things up a little bit better had you been a little more aggressive as opposed to taking the view we did on some things. But I don't look at any of those things as regrets. Just the path could have skewed a little bit differently.
Yeah.
I think we'll end up in the same place, but it might have been a quicker path or a little different path, or maybe not as stressful of a path. But if you don't have those lessons, maybe you don't get to the path without learning those lessons along the way.
Yeah, that's true. I would agree with you. I could have been a little more aggressive as well.
It's only a loss if you don't learn the lesson.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you got to make the mistakes.
Yeah.
People can tell you all they want.
Yeah.
Until you do it yourself.
That's
the
truth,
when
bro.
you wise up.
That's the truth. Well, folks, we're gonna dive into some rapid fire questions. These are one-word answers. We'll go 1, 2. We'll just keep the flow going. But first, a quick break. One-word answers. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Do you like to smoke in the hot or the cold?
Cold.
Hot.
Joints or blunts?
Joints.
Blunts.
Bongs or bowls like pipes?
I'm kind of split on them, but I'll go with bong.
Yeah, I definitely do both as well. I'll say bowls just because I probably do that more often.
All right. Cold start or hot start for dabbing?
Ooh, depends on the device. Sorry about the one-word answer. You know you're not going to get a one-word answer from us.
It's doing for you, dog.
Hot.
Yeah, I'd say hot also.
Rig or e-rig?
I'm going to go with rig for buzz, e-rig for convenience.
Rig.
I like that answer. Rig?
I'll go with rig.
For sure. Street smarts or book smarts?
Street.
Need both.
There it is. Fear or respect?
Respect.
Yeah, same.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Superman.
Haze or sour? Like Piff. Haze.
I'm a Piff. I'll go with Piff.
My man.
You're going to hate me. I'm going to say neither.
Oh, shit. The
A lot
first
of-
time that's ever
a lot of people are
happened.
going to probably hate me.
That's all right. We like the controversy. I don't have much on the show. Nas or Jay-Z?
Nas.
Definitely DOS.
Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat?
Mortal Kombat.
Street Fighter.
Favorite Ninja Turtle?
I'm going to show my age on this one. I don't know their names.
Fuck, yeah, you get a pass, bro.
My kids watched it, but I didn't
You're
listen.
hella older than me, bro.
Isn't Michelangelo one of them?
the
All right, I'll go with that one.
orange. Yeah.
I remember the 4 names, but I don't remember the characters enough. I'll say Leonardo.
Leonardo, the blue one with the katanas, the leader. Got you. 80s or 90s?
Guess it depends on what you're going for, but I'll go with 80s.
90s.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Pepsi.
Pizza or tacos?
Ooh. That's a tricky one with our East Coast, West Coast. I'm gonna go with pizza.
Pizza.
My guys. Pizza with pineapples or no pineapples?
No pineapple.
I'll do some pineapple from time to time.
All right. Tacos or burritos?
Tacos.
Burritos.
Mozzarella sticks or nachos?
Nachos.
Mozzarella sticks on nachos.
I fucking like this guy. Caramel or caramel?
Caramel.
Caramel.
Same. Cheetos or Flamin' Hot Cheetos?
Give me the regulars.
Cheetos.
Beach or snow?
Beach, only because I'm getting older.
In-N-Out or Five Guys?
I'm in and out.
In and out.
The Wire or The Sopranos?
Oh, God, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
I'm gonna go with Sopranos though.
Paulie's watching.
Wire's good though, man.
He's watching you.
Wire's
look,
really
look,
good.
look to your left, bro.
I see
You
him.
see him? He's pointing at you, kid.
I honestly can't make a call. It's the 2 shows I would watch. Those are my 2 desert island shows.
Desert
If
Island.
I was
There you
on
go.
a desert island and I had
Damn
something on
it.
loop, it'd be those 2 shows.
All right, for that answer, you had to bring the island into this. I'm gonna accept that answer. That was
If I'm smoking OG watching those 2
God
shows, I'm
damn.
happy as
All right,
fuck
bro.
on a desert island.
okay. All right. Pacino or De Niro?
De Niro.
De Niro.
Godfather 1, 2, or 3?
3.
2.
It's a rare one, more
Yeah.
popular one. I like that. Why 3? I'm just curious. And I love 3, by the way, so I'm not dogging you.
You know, I don't know if I have. I just think it's a better one.
No, leave it there. Leave it there. That's cool. I like that because that's not common. Comedy or horror?
Comedy.
Comedy.
Freddy or Jason?
Jason.
Freddy.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Netflix.
Morning person or vampire life?
Morning now.
Right, I know that's right, Pop.
Still somewhat vampire life.
Boy. You got kids? God bless.
Dogs don't count, right?
No, fuck no. Not for vampire life. Blackjack or poker?
Poker.
Blackjack.
Text message or phone call?
I'm a call kind of guy, not gonna lie.
Text message.
I feel it.
I'm old school.
I know. Me too. Breakfast or dinner?
Breakfast.
Dinner.
Automatic or revolver?
Auto.
Auto.
Bike or skateboard?
Skateboard.
Bike.
Jack or Blue Dream for the rest of your life?
Blue Dream.
I'd like to say neither as well, but I'll go ahead and go Blue Dream.
He's not a sativa guy, in case you haven't noticed.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm seeing the trend here. Purple Punch or Oreos for the rest of your life?
Oreos.
Yeah, Oreos, just because I can't stand
Purple
fucking
Punch. No.
That's a new one. I'm putting that in the notes. I freestyled that one. If you could bring back one dinosaur for your pet, who would you choose?
Velociraptor.
Mm-hmm.
T-Rex.
Body shot or face shot by Iron Mike Tyson in his prime?
Oh, God. Broken ribs or broken face?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with ribs. Let's go with the body.
Little rib? Little rib
Definitely going
snatcher?
body shot.
Okay. Shot a 151 or a hot dab? Like a 900? Like,
Hot dab all
like
day long.
murderous.
We
Okay.
called them glowies. When you get
Glowies,
the
yeah, oh,
titanium
glowy. Oh, yeah,
red,
it's glowy.
just drop it on.
1,000 degrees or get
Yeah,
the fuck out.
$9.99. Yeah, Vicky used to say 1,000 or $9.99 or get the fuck out, because that's all the higher it would go on
Jesus
the
Christ.
on the e-rig.
Candy or gas?
Gas.
Gas.
That was easy. Tupac or Big?
Tupac.
Tupac.
Wu-Tang or Death Row?
Death Row.
Yeah, I'm going to say Death Row.
These boys been on the West Coast for a minute. I like these answers.
Even when I was on the East Coast, I listened
Nah,
to the West Coast more,
I'll
though.
fuck with you. Yeah, that's who we were listening to. That was the West Coast. You know, that was,
Yeah.
we knew it.
Because
You know
the
what I'm
culture
saying?
comes
Yes.
out of Hollywood.
Yeah.
The culture comes out of L.A.
Yeah,
and
man.
the Bay.
Yeah. So, good shit, boys. That was awesome, man. Before we get up out of here, I'd love to share with people, you know, the Power Network and how do we meet, and who do you know that I should know to get on the show. So I think we met at Hall Flowers, or I think it was Hall Flowers. I just came up and introduced myself, and I had known you guys from the work you've
but it would
done.
have been Hall of Flowers. It wasn't the most recent. It was
Bro, it was
Yeah.
no, it was like 2
Couple
years ago.
years
Bro, this
ago.
is like before I
Yeah.
even had the podcast. I had a Good Pizza hat, and I
Okay.
told you, I was, yo, watch out for Good Pizza. You
Okay.
probably remember me saying this shit. I was, yo, watch out for Good Pizza, Easton, PA. I let in with Easton. You know what I'm saying? Yo,
How do I not? I don't remember. How do I not remember that? You lead in with East.
it was like in the middle
Damn
of
it,
the
man.
building. I'm like, yo, y'all from Easton? That's
Yeah.
what's up, bro. I used to live out there.
Okay.
We had a short Easton conversation.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then, but bro, it was 3 years ago.
Okay. And Hall of Flowers is
Hall Flowers
many
is crazy.
times
You
a
met,
blur.
you've seen 1,000 people that day.
It's
you know what I'm saying?
it's no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was the question again? I got stoned.
So that's how we met. The question is, who do you know that I should know that should get on the show? Any recommendations?
Let's see. If you're looking for some media people, I think you should get the guys on from Fat Nugs, because they're the other independent
Okay.
cannabis publication.
Fat Nugs? All right,
Yeah.
cool.
As far
Make the link, bro.
Yeah, I'll connect you with them. You got any off the top?
I am drawing a complete fucking blank.
We're so bad.
It's all right.
As soon as we're done filming, I'll probably be like, oh, you should talk to
All I need is
so-and-so.
one. I get text on the way home.
I
Yo,
know.
matter of fact, you'll hit my boys. I get like 3 people. It's all good.
I mean, if you had Josh and Kenji on,
No,
you need
but
to get them on.
I know. Yeah, can you plug me?
I will totally
Please.
reach out to them for you.
Please. I'm
They would be a
I'm in
great
contact with Kenji.
Okay.
We're trying to work that out. But Josh, for sure,
Okay.
put
I'll reach
me
out
in,
to him. I like Josh. He's
Yeah,
a good guy.
that'd be cool, man. Thank you. So before we dip up out of here, anything you guys want to plug right now? Where can people find you? Please do so, and let the people know.
You can find us on social media, Instagram, BeardBrosPharms, farms with a PH. LinkedIn, BeardBrosPharms as well, plus our personal pages. Twitter, BeardBrosPharms.com is our primary focus of where we want people to look for us. We have products available in California, Massachusetts, and Missouri. Currently, tinctures and RSO available in California. RSO in Massachusetts with tinctures coming soon. RSO in Missouri with gummies coming there soon. And then small batch flour available in Canada is where our products would be at.
The only thing I think he missed out on was our Friday Session newsletter that if you go to our website, you can find and sign up for. If you're somebody in the industry looking to keep abreast, we hit you up once a week. recap all of our articles for the week, any other important events coming up, all that stuff.
Nice. Beautiful. I love it, man. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story with us.
Well, we appreciate
Bill,
you inviting
Jeff,
us.
thank you so much, man. Glad we got to do this, man. You already know, Beard Bros. Check out my guys, man. Legends in the game, giving you guys the real deal all the time. No cuts, no additives. Beard Bros, good pizza. Hit the Patreon, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for the support, guys. We love you. Peace, love, good pizza. We up out of here.